Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this commentary for Aliens vs Predator Extinction. I'm going to be going through the Aliens campaign, and I'm going to do my best not to talk over too much of the audio. So without further ado, let's get started. Oh, who doesn't love some PS2 cinematics? Right, so we're going to be going through the Alien campaign. And the Alien campaign is, perhaps it's partly due to my playstyle, but I would argue probably the easiest of all of the campaigns. So this game is very much a real-time strategy, but it doesn't involve any major base buildings. It's a bit weird in that regard. Anyways, just to show you, we're going to be playing this on hard mode. And let's get started. Alien 1. Explorers uncover dormant hive. Years before the human development of LV-742, a routine Weyland-Yutani probe indicated the planet to be rich in mineral ore. Shortly thereafter, a team of explorers and engineers arrived with a modest USCM escort to verify the probe's findings. The explorers conducted the seismic drillings and extracted core samples. One drilling site opened up a cave that housed a cache of alien eggs. And now, the explorers further investigate their new discovery.
Human explorers have opened the cave containing your eggs. Now is the time to breed and grow and dominate. Use a Preatorian egg to create a queen. Then grow the hive, spread the horde, and kill the Marines in their northern base. It's marked on your minimap. During the mission, your objectives appear in the pause menu, which may be accessed at any time by pressing the start button.
Right. Now, as you may have seen when I was loading into this, you saw that I had gold medals for each one of the missions. The way to do that is to complete the optional objective, which doesn't exist for the first mission on each race, and also to complete each mission in the part-time, which for this particular mission is 12 minutes. As such, well, I should say actually, rather before I go into as such, you don't need to do it on hard mode. You can do it on any difficulty, but I want to do it on hard mode just to show that it's doable. Now, getting all of the gold medals will unlock cheats, which we're not going to be using, but if you want them, it's a good challenge to go for. So in order to try and do this in under 12 minutes, rather than use the drone to bring hosts back to the hive, which is, I think, kind of how the game wanted you to do it, we're just going to hatch all of the facehuggers and just send them off. Now, all of the facehuggers, their health will constantly deplete if it's not on this weird kind of node that the drone has made. And with only 15 hit points, it does run out quite quickly. So what we're going to do is make this node here to basically give them a waypoint. Fortunately, the Preatorian hugger which is what we get the queen from, has 45 hit points, which is why we're able to send that out first and get our queen started essentially really quickly. Now the first thing you probably want to do is upgrade the drone. When the drone is upgraded, they have a spit attack, which, as well as being more powerful in most situations, bar one, which will come up later, it will put this orange ring around anyone that they attack. And what that means is when you then infect them with facehuggers, the aliens that come out of that host organism will now have 100 more hit points. So a drone normally has 200 hit points. If you've managed to make him cystic, which is the term, then they end up with 300. So when we can, it's good to have that. And we're just going to send our queen just to do some damage. Now, a lot of the time with the aliens, especially early on, because you're working with a very limited amount of time, you don't want to be setting up a hive near the start of the game and bringing hosts in. You don't have the time to be doing that. Fortunately, to create an egg sac to start producing eggs, it only costs 100 infestation points. And with the aliens, taking out anything will give you 50. So you kill 2 things, even if it's just these Oswocs here, which are space cows, is the best way of describing them, they'll give 50 points. And it's why I kind of think the aliens are one of the easiest of the factions. Although you need hosts, most of the maps will be designed that there's some livestock around. And you'll notice with things like these Oswocs here, they will constantly respawn throughout the course of the game. So oftentimes it's a good idea to basically set up your queen, set up your base where these guys are, and you can use that to quickly start making some more aliens. Now we've lost 1 warrior, but there's nothing much to worry about. You're gonna have a lot of casualties as the aliens. That's just the nature of them, and that's why they can reproduce so quickly. So we're going to bring those back to the hive and start getting our numbers up. Now, as we have more drones around, one thing you'll notice, if a facehugger were to try and go for a nearby Oswok or some kind of organism that isn't yet dead, the aliens will automatically attack it. Most of the time it doesn't make a difference, but if you do have drones with the upgrade, it means that automatically they'll infect nearby creatures, and you're going to have a slightly stronger unit at the end of it. And drones are pretty weak, so the extra 100 hit points definitely does help in the long run. So we're just going to stop here for a little bit, not too long, again we don't have too much time, and we're going to go on a rampage. And we're going to be keeping our queen with us for the full duration, because the queen is incredibly powerful. And there's not too much resistance on this first mission, so you don't have to worry too much about losing her unless you're being a bit silly. Now, a good thing about having the drones with you is they're the only ones that can create these nodes. Well, I say that, technically speaking, when the queen creates an egg sac, you also get this webbing around. And so you'll want either a queen or some drones around to heal up your troops. Your troops, your aliens. Your aliens are troops, I guess. We have a couple of spare Preatorians here. So if you want to make more Preatorians, you put 300, well, you basically create a normal egg and turn it into a Preatorian egg, which costs 300 points. And this early on, there's nothing really else to spend the points on, so we might as well make some Preatorians. Especially this early on, most of the forces you're going to be coming across are just infantry, so the Marines, which have pulse rifles. And one thing which I kind of mention in my Marine one on mission 2, pulse rifles are woefully inadequate at dealing with Praetorians because they have such heavy armor. Now, because this is an old school RTS game, I say that even modern RTS games does the same thing, and the developers are incapable of making the AI smarter, when we play on hard mode, all that happens is that our units are weaker and the enemies are stronger. So even a pulse rifle is going to be a decent threat to us, even against Preatorian. So every little we can get is going to help us out. So when you move these units along, they will always move by the slowest unit. And in the case of the aliens, that would be the Queen. And as you're probably seeing right now, I love this game. This is one of my favourite childhood games, but I'm fully aware that nostalgia goggles are playing a big part of it, because one of the biggest problems that I had with this game, and I'm certain other people have, is that the pathfinding is fucking horrendous. You just saw the Queen just randomly walk off there, especially when you come to impassable terrain. They tend to struggle a bit. So one thing, in fact, she's getting shot at right now because she's gone AWOL. So you have a waypoint command and a patrol command, and we will make liberal use of that. There's a couple of times it can again mess up the pathfinding, but at least for the time being, what we want to do is keep all of our troops pretty much together to the best of our abilities. They do like to. They're aliens. They have drone-like mindsets, so they're not the best behaved. But we want to try and keep our troops together because we're not going to be facing any units with AoE, so we're not going to be facing flamethrowers, we're not going to be facing grenades. So what we want to do pretty much is to keep our troops, I keep saying troops, keep our aliens together, our xenomorphs together, and just try and overwhelm them as quickly as possible, and hope, because they only have single target weapons, I know it's strange to see a machine gun as a single target weapon, but it is, hopefully they're going to hit different units, and so they're not going to be able to take any one individual one out. So you want to pretty much be attempting to spread the damage out across the entirety of your horde, rather than stacking it on one unit, and you can heal it back up. And every time we take out a little group like this, what we can do is set our Queen to create another egg sac and replenish any units we may have lost, or if we haven't lost any, just keep on going. Although saying that, we don't really need to do it for now. That's the general premise of how you're going to play it, but we're just going to heal up, we're going to keep going because we don't have too much time. So just heal up, keep on rocking, keep everyone together. 17 aliens should be more than enough. I know when I was young, I say when I was young, even now quite often when I'm playing a map like this, I'm so tempted just to get the max amount and get 45 aliens. But yeah, you don't have the time for it. So you need to constantly be on the move, especially on the next mission if you want to hit everything. So there's a few colonists here, they just run and scream. If you need a host, they can give you some warriors, but really don't. And just follow it to the marine base and wipe out everyone that's left. Now, fortunately, when you do start to attack, usually they will go and attack themselves. It's kind of good to do that so you don't have too much overkill on individual units. It's a little bit more spread out, but a few losses and mission 1 is done. I say one, there's one little bastard hiding around there. Just spit on him a little bit. And we're done. Mission 1, done and dusted. Nice and easy way to start us off. And as we can see, there was no optional objective, and we did it in 9 minutes 16 seconds, so we got our first gold medal. Alien 2, Growth and Expansion. Recently, a few years after your first hive was opened up, there's been a sudden dramatic influx of humans to this planet. Shipments of migrant workers, along with contingents of US colonial marines, arrive daily and fuel the growth of hives around the globe. Moments ago, a marine demolition charge has exploded and destroyed your underground hive. You must re-establish a viable hive and expand out into new areas.
A marine attack has blown up your hive. First, repopulate the hive. Then, invade the marine storage facility. Search for a landing pad and get a queen on board a dropship before it leaves. While in the field, optional goals for your hive will arise and appear on the pause menu. They are worthy goals, but are not required for a successful mission.
So mission 2 here carries on a trend which I think you find in every one of the campaigns, or maybe it's just me personally, in that the second mission is usually one of the more difficult. The second mission is usually the second difficult mission of each campaign. And the big reason for that is you'll have a large variety of enemies to deal with, but you don't yet have enough of the tech tree unlock to really combat it effectively. And I'm not sure if part of that is meant to show you, like, when you later on, when you do get access to them, how they make such a big difference, or I'm not too certain. But what we want to do, if we move northeast of our starting location, we don't want to be setting up camp exactly where we start, because as we can see already, they've already sent a few scouts to try and take it out. So what we want to do is to move a bit further away. We can set up our hive somewhere that's a little bit easier to defend. And also, one thing I quite like doing, and you'll probably notice in most of the missions I play through, is that you want to try and find some kind of renewable source of hosts. So in this map in particular, there is that Oswoc pack relatively close by. And just do a little bit of damage here. In fact, I think the Preatorian, we can just about take him out. So fortunately, the Preatorian is going ahead and taking most of the damage, and we can get a few human hosts this way. So although we can't convert them into anything else, later on we'll be able to metamorph Preatorians into other units. They can still be really powerful at this point just because of how tanky they are. And you see me just struggling with the controls a little bit here. Trying to play a RTS game with a controller is not the easiest thing. There's a few games, not even just RTS games, just generally kind of like base building games in general. There's one game, Jurassic Park Operation Genesis, I'm working a little bit on at the moment. And the PlayStation 2 version of that is just a pain in the arse to use. But yeah, as you'll notice, a lot of areas there are native animals like these Oswocs, and there's a few like patches where they just seem to replenish. I'm guessing the reason for that is, you know, just so you don't run out of aliens. It's a bit strange because, and it's one of the reasons why the Marine campaign is one of the hardest, is you don't get that luxury. I think if you kill Oswocs, you get like 15 credits or something for playing as the Marines, which isn't really much. Whereas with the aliens, you can just completely build up a host with just them. So one of the first upgrades you want to go for is the upgrade for the drones. And as you can see, all of these Oswocs have the little orange circles around them. So as we get aliens from them, they're going to be a little bit stronger. I think it bumps the drones up from having 200 HP to 300, which, you know, that's a 50% increase right off the bat. That's pretty significant. And what it means is that none of your eggs go to waste either. The mechanic behind the egg sack that the queen lays is that she'll keep making 4 eggs in a row, and you can get a alien to move those eggs out of the way, but it's very tedious, very time consuming, and we're trying to work quickly, especially if you're going after the medals for these missions. You don't have a lot of time to play around with, and especially if you're stupid and doing it on hard difficulty to go after the medals, you have even less time to play around with. So by setting our nest up right next to where the Oswocs are, I think I'm pronouncing that correctly, they have a very weird name. It means that the second the egg gets hatched, it will instantly latch onto a host, and that way there's no downtime from, you know, the eggs not being used. Well, you've got to be careful. Yeah, there's a few patrols here and there that will keep, as you try to stray out to collect more hosts, they'll keep sending troops, and there is a lot of Marines to deal with, and you'll find that because you don't have the strongest forces, much of this mission is very much just a war of attrition, just slowly whittling down a few of the enemies, taking the host back, building up. Every time you fight, you probably have a few casualties. Try to minimize them as much as you can, go and take some more. It's very slow paced, and that's kind of reflected in the amount of time we have to do this mission. In fact, I don't know, how much fun was this? Let me just quickly double check that. I should have had this up ready to begin with. I'm trying to remember off the top of my head. 35 minutes, yeah, so we don't have a huge amount of time. So with the eggs, because it lays them, it goes from left to right and lays them in 4 spots. So if you end up laying 4 eggs, the egg sac will continue to do the animation of having laid the eggs, but it will just squirt goop out onto an egg that's already there. So unless you actually set someone to distribute those eggs around, you're going to end up losing time from not having produced eggs. And that's the limiting factor for you chemistry nerds out there in this particular approach into creating a stronger army. The limiting factor is how quickly we can produce eggs. We have more than enough hosts to increase that number, and that's not something we can increase yet. Later on we can upgrade our eggs, we can upgrade our facehuggers to produce more, etc, etc. So what we want to do is make sure we have enough of everything else. So that's the limiting factor. That's not something we can increase. So we don't want to be not being able to produce aliens because we don't have enough hosts, for instance. So you'll find that a big idea of this is pretty much just have them at the Oswocs and then try to bring the human bodies onto the egg sacs, because the warriors are more useful in terms of just raw DPS. It's good to have a few drones mixed in. They give a bit of a ranged attack. They also make the host cystic, so you can increase the troops you have from them. So it's good to have a bit of a mix, but for the most part you want more warriors than drones, and that makes sense. They're tougher fighters. So you slowly build up this horde over and over time. You don't really need to split them up too much, but try to bring the bodies back on directly on top of the queen. It's a little bit difficult to do just because of the mechanics of the game. They won't just deposit them all in one spot. They'll spread them out a little bit, but that's fine. And as we can see here, like, we're not really losing. I mean, so far we haven't lost any of our troops here, and that's because the warriors are quite tough. As if you've watched the movies, you'll often see that they can take, you know, a few gunshots here and there. Even from pulse rifles, they'll take a few. They're meant to have quite armoured. They're not as strong as Preatorians, but they're enough to tank a few hits. Just, I don't know, just try and see it as, I guess, like a general strategy game. You have your melee up front, which are more tanky, and then you have your drones behind, which are the ranged units. There is a number of critics, which are another host animal to the right of where we are now. There's a little cave that you can go and get them, and from those you will get runner aliens, which is... Sorry, my brain just had an error 404 and went, runner beans! Yeah, these kind of things. There's one to the cave to the right, there's a few here, and you'll get runner aliens from it, which are not the most useful on this particular map, so I tend to avoid them. I prefer having the warrior hosts. There's a mission later on where they are very, very useful. In fact, there's a couple of missions later on, they're very, very useful. But for this particular mission, I would focus just on having drones and warriors. If you end up getting a couple of runners because the critics just end up getting dragged up with other hosts, you know, that's fine. You'll notice when you go to do the harvest, so as I recall, you hold down the right R2 button on the PlayStation controller and press triangle and then pick a new spot to drag them to. If there's anything nearby that they can attack, which is useful as a host, so if there's any Oswocs, they will attack them first and then bring them back. So you might end up with a few hosts that you weren't looking for in the batch with you. But we're just going to do a little retreat here. We've taken a little bit of damage and just build up a strength. It's very much, I think the aliens' way of fighting is very much just like a blitzkrieg. You want to just overwhelm them with heavy numbers. So we're just going to pull back, heal them up, and then just let them go for it. It's difficult trying to get a proper attack move going, I find in this game. Usually the best thing to do is just to get all of them to attack one unit, and then after they've hit the first unit, unless there's a specific priority target that you're trying to take out, just let them do their work. Because otherwise all of your units will then attack one unit, then one unit, then one unit, and you end up with a lot of overkill. So every single one of your aliens will attack one unit, and it does a lot more damage than is required to kill them. And it's better to space that damage out a little bit across more of the units that are attacking you. It's tricky to control at times. It's just one of those problems when you're playing a strategy game with a controller. It's not the most it's not best designed for finesse and for strategic movements. And I find also this game, there's kind of a lack of movement options. You can control, which is the best, the closest thing you have to an attack move. It's not really an attack move though, but it's what you have to work with, and it can. Yeah, there's some fiddly stuff to go on here. So I'm just going to run everyone back here to get some healed up. A good thing you have here, because you have so many hosts, is that even if you lose a few, if you keep your queen here, she'll keep replenishing any that you might lose. And you often at times have to kind of do a bit of a cost analysis to see whether it's worth keeping the queen at home, you know, being a baby bummer, making them babies to replenish your troops, or if you can get her to lead an attack. Later on, it's much more worth it because there's an upgrade for the queen that will send everyone nearby her into a frenzy. Again, at this stage, not so much. And we're going to lose a few here. Well, we're not even going to lose a few here. One of the upgrades we've got for the warriors, as we can see, which is again what makes them really, really good tanks, is that when they... I'm going to try and do a little retreat here because they've taken a bit of damage. It's okay to lose a few every now and then, but try not to get them to get completely obliterated. And if you can heal them up, because your webbing will heal up all of them at the same time, if you can try and get into a position when they spread out a bit, and the damage that you're taking gets spread out across your horde, it means that you can then heal it up quicker than you're taking it, in a sense. Like, you're not actively healing while you're attacking, but you know what I mean, like, you can... I hope you know what you mean. I don't know what I mean. I'm talking nonsense. Hopefully it makes some sense. So I'm going to pull them back, so taking a bit of a hit, and get our reinforcements up. Fortunately, once we've taken these guys out, as you can see, they really hit you with a lot of marines. Once we've taken these out, we have a plethora of new hosts, so we don't have to worry too much. And in some ways, losing some of the drones that you get early on to make way for the warriors that you can have later up is actually kind of useful. Because again, they can take some of the damage you run in, and especially now that they've upgraded to have pulse rifle grenade launchers, they can do quite a mean number. And you'll notice with this game, the enemy will upgrade their units at the same time as you do. Oh, not this. Let me rephrase that. The enemy will upgrade their units as well. So sometimes the game will start off with them just being unupgraded infantry, and then at some point they upgrade to have the grenade launcher. So they also get strong with you, which is another reason why you need to keep on top of the victories. But just look at all those hosts. Yeah, we've lost like maybe 10 aliens, but we've gotten about 30 human hosts. That's another 30 warriors. So we've got a pretty positive net gain out of this situation. And we are slowly whittling down all the way. Eventually, it can at times on some of the missions just seem like their numbers are inexhaustible, but you will slowly whittle them down, and that's why they give you 35 minutes, because there's a lot of reinforcements that come in. So just keep doing this, keep whacking at them, and you'll eventually start to make a little bit of headway at blasting through them. Completely tangentially, I do find it quite interesting how a lot of the different media surrounding Alien tends to kind of contradict each other. What I mean by that is, if you've ever watched the extended cut version of the original Alien, there's a scene where Ripley goes down into kind of like the underbelly of the Nostromo when the self-destruct sequence is going off. I think this is about the point where she like loses Jenkins because she got scared by the alien, although don't quote me on that. And she notices that a lot of her crewmates are kind of like tangled up in this webbing that's become, you know, quite synonymous with the aliens being around, this kind of black webbing, which I'm assuming is what spreads out whenever you have a drone here regurgitate a node. And as far as I'm aware, in the original script by Ridley Scott, the idea was that each alien was capable of self-reproduction, and they were a lot more alien in that respect. And the alien was attempting to metamorph the crew of the Nostromo to turn them into aliens and potentially even a queen. and it kind of got retconned a little bit. And normally I'm not the biggest fan of retcons, but considering originally when Alien came out, that scene wasn't put in the theatrical cut, I don't really blame it too much, because as far as most people are aware, it straight up didn't exist. And I mean, in kind of like my personal headcanon, I always like to think that all of the individual aliens are capable of creating webbing, but only like the Preatorian line is capable of becoming queens, as it were. And so, as far as I'm aware, they were just in webbing. They weren't being like, well, they were being cocooned, but they weren't being proper transformed. I always kind of thought of it as the alien just going into an instinctual mode and like getting hosts ready, even though there isn't a queen around and there's no one capable of reproducing them. It's just that he's put the host ready for if that was the case, which obviously is immediately contradicted by the game we're playing here, in the fact that the only aliens capable of producing the webbing are the drones. Now, I get trying to grasp like more in-depth lore about the aliens from a video game where it's quite obvious a few decisions were made simply to try and balance the games a bit silly, but I don't know about anyone else, but whenever I have lots of conflicting information, I do my best to try and reconcile how it can all exist in the same kind of area, or I should say coexist. And I believe there's actually a psychological reason for that. I believe whenever a person is aware of two facts that they believe in that seem contradictory to each other, it actually causes psychological stress. It causes, I believe the term is cognitive dissonance, when on the, I'm not sure if it's like on the subconscious level or on a more conscious level, they're aware that there is some inconsistency there, and it causes genuine distress. And I think that's why, if ever you've spoken to people of a religious faith, and I don't, not that I want to have a go at anyone for whatever religion they choose to believe in. If you're free to, I'm very libertarian in that view, you're free to believe in whatever you want, but if ever you try to speak to someone about like some tenets of their faith, and you try to explain some inconsistencies in their, it doesn't even have to be a religion necessarily, you can have, well, equally, I'm referring to it more as like a non-theistic religion, which is usually referred to as more of a cult. So I guess that's probably better to not offend anyone if we refer to people in a cult. When you try to explain to them inconsistencies in what they're doing, they'll almost immediately start to come up with like ways that they can coexist. And I know I've massively gone off from aliens here on this little tangent. But I just, that's something that I think most humans try to do in some way or another. Obviously, some more extreme than others. And that was the way I tried to make it so that it all made sense. And the way I make it make sense with the game is that all aliens are capable of producing that kind of webbing and stuff. It's just the drones are more efficient at it. And it's represented in the game by only the drones being able to do it. And I realised I put way too much thought into a an area of lore that doesn't even exist. It's but what else are you going to do when you're bored? But anyway, back to our mission at hand, and what I want to do is to actually move the nest up a little bit. So I've got a few alien stragglers that I'm going to start shifting the hosts up, and the reason for this is, one, I want any reinforcements that I'm getting to be close to the front lines, because as you start to take the compound out, you can suffer quite a few casualties because it's quite heavily defended. And two, the the dropships will just just leave their men to their fate. They'll just they'll keep dropping down at that point. I'm pretty sure it's the only dropship on this mission, and they'll keep dropping their troops in. In fact, let me rephrase this. I'm going. My mouth's moving quicker than my brain is to kick into gear. There optional objective of this mission is to kill all Marines, and that includes all the reinforcements that the Marines will be sending. So a good idea is to set up your hive around where the drop site is, and that way you can just kill them as they come down, just completely surround them, you don't have to worry about it. And because they keep coming down, it's giving you a not inexhaustible, but a resupply of the hosts that you need. Although saying that, you need to be careful, as I believe I fall into a few troubles here where the Queen isn't too well protected and starts to get attacked. I mean, if she dies, we have a Preatorian, so yeah, you can see them attacking. And there's one dutiful warrior doing his best to defend it, so we're just going to unclad the Queen and set her to motion. The Queen, as you might expect, is one of the strongest units in the game. Not the strongest alien, there is a very, very tough one you can get later on, but pretty up there. The biggest problem with her is that a lot of her damage is in just like concussive power. So when she's attacking, she'll keep knocking a unit back. So then she has to spend time moving to where they've been knocked back to then deal more damage rather than just hitting it. So there's a lot of DPS loss, especially if you're being attacked by multiple people. But that same factor can be useful in smaller scale engagements. And in fact, in the next mission we come up with, it's something we're going to be using to great effect to make a pretty much a one-man army. But we've sorted them out. We're starting to build up a few aliens there so we can kill them as they drop out of the dropship. So we're just going to carry on forward. And really, there's not a huge amount of strategy to like attacking with the aliens. There's not really formations in this game. It's not like a total war game. It's pretty much just blitzkrieg and bum rush everything, kill out a few units, and when they've taken a little bit of damage, set the drones to make nodes to heal up, and then carry on. This particular game, there is a bit of nuance to it, but there isn't a great deal of tools that allow you to use it. So you can sort of make formations by moving them around a little bit. So you can have your tougher units come up first, they take the brunt of the damage. But there's not really anything in the way of creating a proper formation like you would expect from like Age of Empires or Total War. Just one of the areas why it's lacking, and I think it only got lukewarm reviews, which I can understand. There's a lot missing in the game, but it still has a special place in my heart. And I think a big reason for that is I would have been, I want to say in year 3, which for you Americans means, how old is that? I would have been about 7 years old, I want to say. Maybe a bit younger. I can't remember exactly, but there was, we had a project for school where we had to create a leaflet explaining something. And me being the dorkiest of dorks that I was like, right, I'm going to do a gaming leaflet to show you how to play this game and talk about all the different units and how to use them and how each faction works, their strengths and weaknesses and stuff. And I remember my teachers being like, your parents let you play this game? Like, you know, very, very stereotypical, oh dear, that's way above your age range kind of thing. And well, at first they thought it was a movie. They didn't realise it was as a game. But yeah, it was one of those I have fond memories. I have fond memories of my dad playing through the Marine campaign and failing miserably, repeatedly. It was never really much of a gamer. He would always complain. I'll play games when I'm finished with all my jobs, but he's the kind of person who would always find new jobs that needed doing, so thus the jobs would never finish. But yeah, we've cleared out most of the area now. In fact, the dropship that we just saw in the center is what we need to put the Queen on. However, we want to make sure we've killed all of the Marines within that 35-minute time limit before we do it to get our gold medal. So as you're seeing here, what I've done is I've set all of my aliens into patrol mode and then just sprinkled it across the map. And what this does, well it hopefully does, not too well, but it's the best way to do it, is it just gets them to completely spread out. and hopefully look up any nook and cranny rather than moving them around all in one unit to find whatever straggling Marines there might still be left. In fact, I think this isn't the only mission which has that requirement for completing it. There's one or two later on. I know mission 6 especially has the same one. And the big problem why I try... There we go. Optional objective complete. That was the last Marine. And the big reason why I try not to do it too much is that it tends to fuck up with the AI of the aliens. Like, once you do that, trying to get them into a big, like, doom blob mass to attack, they just keep freaking out. It's very bizarre. But anyway, that is this mission complete. We'll just move our queen over to the executive dropship, get her on, and we are done with mission 2. Wasn't too hard, really. But this is what I mean. Enemies killed 167 for mission 2. It's ridiculous. Alien 3. Propagate the species. Your queen has arrived in a fertile virgin territory inhabited by humans and a wide variety of indigenous wildlife. The untapped region fuels an innate desire to propagate the species far and wide. Instinctually sensing threats to the fabric of the hive mind, the queen hungers for stronger, more superior hosts to use in growing the new hive.
Prepare to grow a hive bigger and stronger than ever before. Create the eggs and find the hosts to build up the horde. Then, search far and wide for predator hosts. The hive must grow stronger.
Mission 3 will be quite a big change of pace from what we've had to deal with before, in that the amount of humans we encounter is greatly diminished. You're mostly going to be fighting predators, and it makes things a little bit awkward because there's not really a huge amount of hosts to make advantage of. The optional objective for this is to make 6 runners, and for that you'll need these weird little kind of goat things called kerns, and there's not many on the map. And what few there are on the map, there is a risk of either the predators, less the Marines, but more the predators killing them to take their heads as trophies. So the very first thing you'll want to be doing is upgrading your facehuggers so that they produce 2 aliens for every like lower life form, so non-human, non-predator you create. And it also gives you a few little units to work with. Now, you're not really going to be making much of a hive for most of this game, and a big reason for that is you need to be able to spot the predators, and most of the aliens you create won't be able to do that. Your runners can, I believe, and your queen can, but your drones can't, your PredAliens can't. So for a lot of it, you'll want to be using your queen so you can actually spot the predators who are hidden. So you'll be basically just slowly building up a group and keeping all of your units together. And that's annoying. The brawlers are capable of hitting facehuggers out of the air. Like literally you'd have to hit them about 6 or 7 in a row for them not to kill the facehuggers. But, you know, we're starting off. Every time you make an egg sac, it costs 100 points, so what you want to try and do is at least kill a few of them before you make an egg sac. And we're just going to keep everyone grouped together like one happy xenomorphic family, and by keeping everyone together, like, use that to our strength. Unfortunately, the PredAliens you get are very strong, and even stronger once we get the opportunity to upgrade them. But we're going to upgrade the 2 drones we have at the moment, and again, it's only 2 drones, that it's not exactly much, but the ability to get cystic aliens of other species right off the bat is just too good not to give up. And you'll notice you get harassed quite a lot by just roaming ones, so quite frequently you're going to have to unsheath your queen to take them out. The drones and the runners will struggle. The predators are far tougher than the Marines. There's a few weaker exceptions, and there are a few matchups where the aliens can do well, but for the most part the predators are a lot tougher, hence why the PredAlien is also a lot tougher. So, well, here's an example. Here's one we don't need to unsheath for. This is a Stalker, which is basically a Predator Sniper, and they are very, very weak, and thankfully it means we can just keep the Queen laying eggs. And if you have to unsheath her, you know, it's not too much of an issue. Always go back to it. It's just a few points here and there. And we are going to very, very slowly build up our forces. Unfortunately, because we're having to keep making egg sacs and move them back and forth, we are losing a lot of points, which otherwise could be spent. Oh, that's someone we have to worry about. That is a Spearmaster. Using a lot of points that we could be used to upgrade them. And you'll quite quickly start to learn, you know, what predators to watch out for, even if you haven't played the other campaigns. The Spearmaster is capable of doing a little ballerina twirl, spinning his spear around, which you want to hit him with the pointy bit, not the flat bit. But regardless, when they spin around, all of the smaller aliens you have, so drones, runners, I think even warriors, get knocked back. Maybe, oh God, do they get knocked back? Brain, please. I think they get knocked back, and I think even if you upgrade them, they get knocked back. But PredAliens and Preatorians are strong enough that they don't get knocked back. So fortunately, and it kind of makes sense, and it's one area that I'm quite fond of, is that the aliens that you get from a host are usually designed to counter what they're from, which, you know, makes a lot of sense. That's the whole reason why the aliens wanted to propagate, and it's one of those little details I quite like. You'll find that the PredAliens are very resistant to heat because, as I recall, as part of Predator lore, they're from quite hot countries. Not countries, planets. They're not from countries. They're from quite hot planets. And they use quite a lot of, especially some of the later ones, they use a lot of heat weaponry. So as we can see, the PredAliens very, very tough already. They start with 550 hit points, or 650 if they're cystic. They have a really, really brutal attack. They're capable of regenerating as well. And I'm not quite sure where that ability comes from, because in the movies we see that predators, although they are very tough and very resistant, they do have to use stim packs and other kind of medication to heal their wounds. So I'm not sure why they're capable of regenerating. Again, I think it's probably just a gameplay thing to say, look, these guys are strong. They're even tougher than the warriors. And interesting enough, the runners are also capable of regenerating. I'm not entirely sure what the lore reason behind that. I mean, in the movies, the only time we see a runner alien is in Alien 3. And I don't recall at any point him having anything extra special about his regenerative ability or it being mentioned at all. It just was a slightly different, slightly smaller but faster alien. One thing that was incorporated into this game, which was taken from the movies, is, and I hate to say spoiler alert, but it's just cringy saying it. But spoiler alert for those of you that haven't seen Alien 3 and would like to. And yes, I know we're taking these humans out right now, and we're not using a drone, so we're not getting the cystic, but we're trying to be expedient. There's quite a harsh time limit on this one that we're trying to beat. But yeah, we go, PredAlien upgrade. But yeah, in the end of Alien 3, the alien gets submerged in, I think it's like molten iron or some kind of molten metal. And it doesn't die because it's very resistant, and it jumps out and it's still covered in this molten metal. And then they pour the sprinklers on. And if ever you've seen like a barrel, in fact it was, say this, I mean, there's a lot of problems I have with Alien 3, but that's one thing it does quite well. Earlier on in the movie, you'll see a fire go completely out of control, and there's a barrel that's on fire. And they will sprinkle water to try and put the fire out. And as they sprinkle water on the barrel, it kind of crumples up and in on itself. And that's an effect that happens when something goes from being incredibly hot to incredibly cold. And it's actually why you'll have on like railway roads, they can expand and contract based on how hot it is. Not quite the same thing, but it's a similar phenomenon as to why you get potholes, because water is one of the few molecules which, when it goes from water to a solid, actually takes up more space. So when it freezes, it expands the area of the crack, and it causes it over time, over, you know, its reign, to freeze, cool, freeze, cool. It slowly expands and like breaks it apart, and that's how you get a pothole. Random fact for you. But in the scene, because the alien is very, very superheated and then gets cold water sprinkled on it, it ends up exploding into pieces. And I always thought that was less to do with the runner specifically and more just to do with the anatomy of the alien, because they're quite insectoid, and it seems as if they have kind of a carapace. They kind of have an exoskeleton to them. And so I was always under the assumption that that kind of explosion would happen to any of the aliens, not just the runner. But again, maybe it's just for gaming purposes. In this particular game, runners will explode violently when they are hit by flaming attacks, which actually makes them quite useful suicide bombers in a few certain sections. So anyway, tangent aside, you may have just noticed that all of our PredAliens vomited on the floor and then yelled out as the predators are wanting to do in the movies. And this is a mechanic that they get once you upgrade them. They get the ability to shed their skin, as the game coins it. And basically every time the predators fight, and they have like this digestive bite which will heal them up a little bit as well. Every time they fight, they kind of gain experience. I think it's probably the best way of putting it. And after they've taken out whatever they're fighting, and after a brief period of them resting and not being attacked, they'll do this vomit and they'll roar into the air, and the spines on their back will get bigger. And I'm not quite sure why they have the spines, because again, don't think predators do, but it's just, maybe it's just a visual representation. And after they've done that, they will then have more health. It basically gives them more HP. So it's a good idea to, probably more than any of your other aliens, to try and keep your PredAliens alive through multiple fights, which is made easy by the fact that they're so bloody strong. Ironically, actually, one of the things that one of the areas they are weak at is, although they are very, very strong and they are very resistant to heat, they don't have the best kinetic armor. And at the end of the video, I'll go through all the Bestiary and how they all work. But that means that Marines can actually tear them down quite quickly, because they have a very large health pool, but they don't have a lot of armor on them. And again, it's one of those things I quite like about the game, in the fact that warriors are designed to take out humans. They don't have as high a health pool as, say, the PredAliens do, but they have a lot of armor, so they can charge in when the machine guns are firing, and really, really go to town on them. I say a lot of armor. It's not. You get more armored ones, but they have more armor than the other aliens. I think is a fair way of saying it. And the PredAliens are best suited to taking out predators. Although the warriors are more suited to taking out humans, theoretically, I would take a PredAlien over a warrior any day of the week, just because they have this capacity to, over multiple fights, if you can keep them strong, they get ridiculously tough. I've had a PredAlien before with like 1600 health, which means that they have more health than the bloody Queen, at least unupgraded, which is absurd, absolutely absurd. But it's a nice incentive to keep them alive, and because they are so beefy, they do a pretty good job. They take more damage from kinetic weapons like marine machine guns and stuff, but because they have that large base health pool, they can survive a little bit of almost everything. Now, this is one area I actually struggled with when making this walkthrough, and you're going to see me try and lure these Spearmasters out because I want everyone to be at full health. So they regenerate on their own, but if you stick them on the webbing, they regenerate quicker, so you might as well double up the healing. But for whatever reason, in this game, leading into the tunnel, there is about 4 or 5 pred guns all in one spot. And the problem with that is that you can't rush them because the pred guns have a horrendous amount of splash damage, which means if you, well, you can't really space them out if you're having to attack in melee. You want to get them to be, all your aliens to be up in one blob because you want them all to be dishing damage at the same time, but that means that they can then get taken out by the pred guns. So rather than try and take them all out, what we're going to do, we're going to run in. We're going to attack the first one we come across, take it out as quick as we can, and then get the fuck out of there. Regenerate up and do these kind of hit and run tactics. And it's very much what the aliens excel at. They are faster than the Marines, they're faster than even the Predators. The Predators are pretty fast, but the aliens are, as you would imagine, the fastest. And that is where they excel. Not in tactics necessarily, well, not in formations, I'd say, rather than tactics. We do use tactics. We do use a lot of hit and run tactics specifically. And there we go. We've got our 6 runners, so our optional objective is complete. So it's kind of annoying actually having that as an optional objective because the runners are just kind of get in the way. They don't really help much with this mission, and you have to go out of your way to grab them. And I guess in terms of the game, it's just so you, well, the idea is that the Queen wants a diverse hive, but for this particular mission, the PredAliens are far better. And you'll notice I'm pretty much only using the PredAliens. I'm leaving the warriors behind because against the energy weapons, they're actually going to struggle quite a lot. So we take the first pred gun down. We took a bit of damage, but we're strong enough now that we can just bum rush the other 2. And it seems like it, you know, that wasn't too much of a problem. But trust me, if you play it on hard and you try and bum rush those guns, you will lose all of your aliens. That one extra pred gun is enough to just completely wipe them out. So again, we've taken them out. And the good thing is that the pred guns, although they're just metal that we've attacked, as far as the game's code's concerned, they're quite tough units. So they're all now going to vomit and get even stronger, and there's awful roaring noise, which when you get enough of them going at one time, especially because I'm playing this through an emulator, it can completely glitch out your game and you just constantly hear screaming. But it's quite cool. It's something that the Predators do in the movie, you know, after they've had their trophy, they do the I think I sounded more like Chewbacca or like an inebriated Chewbacca at that. But they do like this. I didn't even bother trying to do that. But they do this raw thing, and it's nice that they incorporated that into the PredAliens as well. So now that the Predator guns are taken out, we're just going to move forward and scout out. Again, although our PredAliens are quite strong, there is quite a big nest of predators built up around here, so we don't just want to bum rush them down because we will struggle. So again, I mean, the good thing with the PredAliens is that you don't even need a drone with them to create a node. They can just heal themselves up. So we're just going to kind of just do a hit and run. We're going to go in, attack what we see. If we come across too much resistance at once, we're going to pull back. And hey, that's fortunate. That was a pred gun that was going to get deployed at the entrance, which even though it served no fight to us because it wasn't deployed, we get a lot of biological experience, or I'm just going to call it experience, and we're going to molt again and get even tougher. One thing I haven't really mentioned too much is you'll notice that I deliberately tried to keep all of my aliens in defensive stance. And if anyone is familiar with Age of Empires, they're quite similar to that. If you do an aggressive stance, if they see an enemy, they will chase it off the end of the map. And that's not something you want. Whereas defensive stance, they will chase a little bit, but then pull back. And yeah, we're gonna pull back here because they have a shrine there that's going to hit multiple ones, and we're going to try and lure them out so we can take them on a few at a time rather than just bum rushing the whole group. Because even though when you play Predators, you have quite a finite population cap, the AI doesn't. The AI, as far as I'm aware, can just keep pumping them out, and we'll have a hell of a lot more Predators than you ever had the opportunity to have. So we're just going to keep drawing them out and whittle them down. And that's pretty much the only 2 strategies you're going to be able to use as the aliens, is either blitzkrieg or hit and run. There isn't much else you can do. But if it works, it works. It's quite effective. And when we want to go after, if we'll pull them out, there's the Vanguard there. Vanguard isn't actually that much of a threat against the aliens. In fact, He's very strange. If you watch my Predator commentary, I'll explain how he's useful. But actually using him as a combatant, he's not very good because his scythe does percentage damage of whatever it attacks, and it attacks very slowly. So the idea was that they're meant to be very good at like taking out queens and stuff, but a queen will just knock them back. And yeah, they attack so slowly. I don't understand. They're an odd unit. They're an odd unit, definitely. But we're just going to take this Vanguard out, and that's for this mission, the Predator leader, and it's a success. We didn't even need to take out the shrine. We can just lure the leader out and completely kill him. So it's one way to avoid attacking as many Predators as we can. 82 Predators, yeah, not nearly as much as the previous mission, but mission all done. On to the next one. Alien 4. Bioengineered aliens. Deep inside a covert research laboratory, leading alien expert Dr. Samuel Kadinsky and Weyland-Yutani bioweapons executive Charles Gold discuss the success and brilliance of their master plan. When they discovered your hive a few years ago, WY's interest shifted away from mining to exploiting the aliens in its bioweapons research program. They devised a plan to use the mining venture as a facade for this R&D effort. Thus, thousands of migrant workers and Marines alike were deceptively enlisted to become unknowing test subjects in Kadinsky's alien experiments. And now the plan has borne fruit. Kadinsky has developed a new alien strain, the K-series.
This is a Weyland-Yutani research laboratory, and your aliens are part of a survival test. Dr. Kadinsky has successfully developed an alternate alien strain called the K-series. To demonstrate the bioweapons potential of his creation, Kadinsky has directed unknowing Marines to collect your eggs from the field, and here he will pit them against the K-series. There is one and only one way to survive against the new subspecies. Keep the species pure. Kill them all.
So a bit of a strange narrative shift. Rather than taking control of the hive that we've had up until this point, or at the very least the centerpiece of the queen, we now are taking control of a bunch of eggs that presumably have been stolen from our hive, which has become incredibly successful over the years. It's a bit of a strange mission, this. We have 15 minutes to do it, or to do it in the part-time. So we're just going to go for it. Just get as many of the eggs to turn into Preatorian, so we have a few opportunities of getting a queen, and then just release the facehuggers, essentially. We're not going to be setting up any kind of nests or anything. We only have 15 minutes to this mission, and the optional objective is to accumulate, or rather, not to accumulate, but to finish with 5,000 infestation points in total. So we're not going to be setting up nests, we're not going to be using any upgrades, we're just going to get moving. So just release the facehuggers. It doesn't matter, like their health does deteriorate when they're not on webbing, but they can survive for a decent chunk of time. So just send them out, and we're just going to see if we can get as many aliens as possible from the starting facehuggers. And then from whatever aliens we get, we're just going to use that as our fort. I'm just going to sweep through the base. It's a very, very quick mission. So we got our queen here, nice and ready. If we did start to struggle, it means that we can set up a hive somewhere. We can start producing eggs and bounce back, but we're really not. This is a very odd mission and very easy, actually. The only real difficulty of not doing the optional objective is if you're trying to play it as like a more traditional RTS, which you shouldn't do. The idea is just to blitzkrieg everything. The K series that we come across, the longer we dig in, the more chance we give for them to build up their numbers as well. So we want to take the fight to them as quick as possible and kill them before they can start to get any significant numbers. And as far as the infestation points are concerned, we shouldn't really be struggling, because we get quite a lot for killing the enemy aliens. We usually only get like 50 for killing anything of an alien, whether it's a predator, whether it's a marine, whether it's even an Oswoc, or just like just native wildlife. But we get 1,000 points for killing the queen. and chances are we're going to be killing more than one, because as we kill the first one, a Preatorian somewhere will then metamorph into a queen. So we're just gonna kill that chest burster, make sure it doesn't get an opportunity to level up into a proper alien, and just keep moving. And from our 30 facehuggers to begin with, we've only lost 4 so far. And a good thing about the alien, the K series aliens, is that even though we can attack their hive nodes, there's not a huge amount of point doing it. Even though it's not our webbing, we can still heal off of their the webbing from their nodes. I think the only difference is because we've been on it, they would then have access to being able to see what we're doing, but the AI isn't too intelligent anyway, so it doesn't really matter if we give them vision. They can't really effectively use it. So we're going to use our waypoint to try and basically get our aliens into a tight little blob and just keep on moving through. I say that the queen's going ahead and all the others are trailing behind. And there we go, second queen. Let's take her out. And I think there was a couple of facehuggers that got loose from that. So she, again, because she has the concussive knockback, she can hit aliens that come at her, but she can't ever hit one alien more than once if she gets surrounded. So she'll knock someone back, do a little bit of damage, but she can't finish any of them off. So if you just surround her and just take her down, just completely take her down. And as we can see, we're already nearly at our 5,000 infestation point. Oh, there's a third queen, blimey. And once we take this out, we'll have all the points we need. There was no need for any kind of upgrades, just quickly go through it. We're almost at the end of this mission. Nice, very, very, very quick one. There's really not much to it now. There's a nice little pack down here that we found. It's quite similar to the second mission. If you get to a point... Oh, we didn't even need to go patrol. All K series are dead. 4.5 minutes. Or 4 minutes 40 seconds, I should say. Nice and easy.
Alien 5. Lab Breakout. After annihilating Kadinsky's aliens, your horde was herded into retaining cells. Soon after, predators invaded the laboratory complex, captured Dr. Kadinsky, and left a trail of destruction in their wake. During the invasion, a stray plasma bolt fried your cell's control panel. You are now free, but alone. Break out the rest of your hive and find a way to breed.
A stray shot during a firefight destroyed the control panel and freed you from your cell. You are alone inside the laboratory with no way to breed and grow. First, find and free as many of the others as you can before you locate and assault the room containing your eggs. Then, breed and grow and take over the lab by killing its leaders, the lieutenant commanders.
Right, this is hands down the most difficult alien mission you're going to have to do. And the reason for that is we don't start with a queen. We start with a very few ragtag, motley assembly of aliens. And there is quite a lot of marines we have to get through to even free the queen, including sentry guns, smart gunners, basically everything designed to fuck us up. And when you're playing on hard, a lot of those can kill one of your aliens straight out, and you cannot afford to lose any of your aliens early. So this one you basically have to be very, very careful with and try and ambush the marines one at a time. So you can see what I'm doing is sending the runners out to do a little bit of a scout. They're going to come back in, and you'll basically want to try and hide like round corners or around doors so that when they finally do come after you, you can just jump them. A good idea is to use your runners to try and scout. Yes, so you quickly pull them back, and then send your warriors in to take them out. The runners can be quite useful if they come in secondary, because they have this leaping attack which can stun units. But again, we have the difficulty of trying to control everything with a controller, which isn't the easiest thing to do. But we have to be very, very, very cautious for the early part of this game. And even later on, it doesn't get much easier. So we're going to use these to scout ahead and basically try and
get whichever ones we can. There's 2 Marines there, so let's see if we can pull them out. The Warriors have enough armor to do a little damage, but one thing you can do with the runners, because they regenerate so quickly, is you can do this kind of hit and run attack, where you run up, you do the leaping attack, do a little bit of damage, and then pull them away so that they can regenerate, because they will not win a straight up fight. Well, not against 2 of them at least. Against 1 infantry you can just about deal with it, and that's mostly, again, because the leaping attack is enough to stun them. But it's very cautious. The good thing about the runners is that they emit these spores, I think it's mentioned in the lore. Oh, there was 2 there. Which means that if you so much as spot an enemy marine, then you end up being able to see them like this blue infrared, which is what makes them such good scouts. And yep, so we just slowly hit and run and slowly wear them down. Fortunately, these ones have just been normal Marines. But again, there's a couple of sentry guns we have to get through to even get our queen, which doesn't make life easy. Now, trying to stick to the top side of this section, and the reason for that is that at that bottom mid-section of this room, there is a sentry gun, and also we have a few flamethrowers to go through. As if we didn't have enough difficulty as well, we have an enemy that can literally just burn all of our troops. Ironically, runners are usually quite good against flamethrowers because they will explode upon death. Fortunately, we don't have any PredAliens, otherwise this would be a lot easier. But again, I'm going to try and do a bit of a hit and run, but unfortunately we're going to get splurted with fire, which will prevent us from regenerating. Being able to suicide bomb when we have flame is nice, but we can't afford to lose our runners. So again, hit and run, back out. Even just 1 spurt of flame will take off most of our health, and it's just very fortunate that they regenerate their health very, very quickly, so we can kind of deal with that. You can see me just trying to wear him down bit by bit before he reaches the rest of my aliens, as much as is possible. And then they come around the corner, and hopefully we can... it gets 2 spurts off, and yep, straight away we've already lost an alien. So I mean, it's fortunately, like, it's just the 1, and we've cleared out a big section, so we can deal with it. But it's... I hate this mission. I hate this mission so much. It's so frustrating. Because the aliens were always known for having strength in numbers, not in, like, anything else. And when you're outnumbered, and that's like... It's like if you're playing the Zerg on StarCraft, and your strength comes from outnumbering opponents. When you're outnumbered, it's not a good situation to be in. But we've got a few hosts here, and what we're going to do is pull them into this Oswoc pen up here. And the reason for that is once we do get our queen, this is where we're going to set up our hive. Again, with previous missions, we want to find some area which has a renewable source of hosts so we can quickly build up our forces. We don't actually have a huge amount of time to do this mission in either, so we have to be working quickly. I say quickly, we have to be cautious early and then kind of almost blitzkrieg the second half of the mission to make sure that it gets done in time. And I think a big reason why they put a quite limiting time limit on this mission is because there's this is the first mission where you get to have upgraded eggs, so you can propagate your hive quite quickly. But it's still not too fair considering how difficult the start is. But this is, as I said, hands down the most difficult mission in the alien roster. So if you can get past this, the rest of it should be a breeze. So we want to be very cautious moving up here, because there's a bunch of smart gunners and sentry guns. So we're going to put a few nodes out just to give us a little bit of a healing advantage. And already, yep, I've had a problem. Try and pull them back. And unfortunately, because the pathfinding's a bit awkward, the runner ended up getting stuck up at this top portion. And also, unfortunately, that smart gunner doesn't appear to want to budge out from our position, which means we're going to have to rush it a little bit, which isn't the best thing to do when we don't really have the numbers to do a rush. A lot of your beginning aliens will die at this particular section, but if you can get them through here to get your queen, then you should be okay. It's just this part is not particularly friendly. So we're just going to give the warrior a few seconds just to heal up, and then we'll make our move. So as you can see here, I'm trying to position it so that my warriors will go in first, so they take the brunt, since they can handle it a little bit better. Take out the second smart gunner, and then try and take that sentry gun out. Actually, we're gonna do a little bit of a retreat before we try doing it. We've lost 3 of our 9 starting aliens now, but it's just a sentry gun. So again, if we put the warriors up ahead to take a bit more of the brunt of the force, we should be okay. Yeah, we lost one of our runners and I think one of our drones in that fight. I think we only have 1 drone left, which is not ideal considering they're the ones that heal us. And unfortunately, that sentry gun, as you can see, is shooting at one of the runners, not one of the aliens. And it's gone on to the other runner. So yeah, we lost both of our runners. We have just 1 drone and 3 warriors left, but fortunately that's enough to get us through here. It's a very, very frustrating mission. So we're going to take this marine out. And there's eggs in all of these cells, but it's only the top ones that seem to have Preatorian eggs. So what you want to do is try and make sure that it's your Preatorian facehugger. Ugh, okay, that didn't work. Try and make sure it's your Preatorian facehugger that gets onto one of these. And in actual fact, there are more eggs that we can release, but we're not going to bother releasing them, because all that's going to happen is we're going to have to abandon them anyway, and it will also mess with our population cap, because then we have a bunch of eggs that is considered part of our force but we're not using. So there's 4 rooms in there with eggs in them, and we're just going to whack the top left one, Preatorian, and then immediately Scarpa from her. And the reason for that is the second you get that objective complete, the second you get to the point where you have a Preatorian, marine reinforcements start coming in, and they'll come in with flamethrowers, they'll come in with smart gunners, and it's going to make it really, really difficult to progress. So rather than stick around, we're going to go where the hosts are, which is where we've already pulled a few comatose, as the term is, marines down bottom. And a lot of our beginning army is going to be drones, which is quite fortunate because it means that we can make sure that the rest of the forces we have are stronger with the cystic trend. So we're going to get all of them down there. They're already attacking our nodes, but that's fine. It just means it's going to delay them a little bit. As you can probably see on the minimap, there's quite a few marines moving down already. So what we want to do, upgrade your eggs, upgrade your facehuggers, and upgrade your drones. And the reason for this is that now, every time we lay an egg, especially because our hive is quite small, it should produce 4 facehuggers. And every time we produce a facehugger and it goes on Oswok, it then produces 2 drones. So just from laying 1 egg, we'll be able to make 8 drones. So this is a good way of very quickly getting our hive up to strength, which we're going to need because we're going to be getting hit quite hard. So we've put the upgrade on the drone, so we're just trying to get him to basically attack some of the Oswocs, just to make them have that the cystic part of it, just so the drones we get out are a little bit stronger. And we're gonna move him around to make a little bit of a nest, because of where the marines are coming in. Along this corridor is where we're going to be doing most of our fighting. So if we can be healing while we're also fighting, it gives us a huge advantage. And as you can see there, we've gone from 10 aliens to 25 very, very quickly. The room to the right of us also has Oswocs, so we're going to send our drones out to try and pull some of them back. And we're going to probably end up lose a lot of the beginning drones because, again, they have flamethrowers, which are very good in tight corridor situations. What we're going to try and do, one thing they're not too strong against, is our queen. So if we use our queen to knock them back, we can take them out. And the queen has so much health that they're not going to have much luck in taking her out. But yeah, no, flamethrowers are a big problem. If we had more runners, then we could just suicide bomb into them, but that's not what most of our force is going to be made up of. So they are very good at putting the hurt on us. So they are the biggest threats in this mission by far. You'll have the flamethrowers first, and then probably the smart gunners second. And there's a couple of exosuits, but there's so few in number, I wouldn't even worry about them too much. But this is where we build up our little nest. And the marines are fortunate enough to come in at us at a trickle. Again, it's good that we have this kind of corner where the door is,
which gives us an opportunity to take them out one at a time, since the AI pathing in this is truly horrendous sometimes. So it allows us to ambush them as they're coming around the corner and gives us a big advantage. And as you can see, we've only been here a couple minutes, and we've already nearly max ranked out our army force. So we're going to start moving forward, and we're going to be moving our nest up as we attack the enemies and just keep moving it onwards. Again, because we don't have much time to get this mission finished in, so we need every second to count. So we're just going to make a few more there, and we're getting ready to move up. So yeah, we're getting quite a nice nest here, but we need to be moving quickly. We only have 25 minutes to do this, and if you think about it, you start with nothing. You have to be quite cautious with the beginning part of the mission, because you don't have much to work with. You have to try and lure them out, and then you have to try and clear out the better part of this base. Like, it's really just not kind, and I don't understand why, because the next two missions, by comparison, I mean, the next mission after this one in particular is very easy. So the difficulty's a little bit bloody Sadar Trooper, take him out, no problem. Yeah, the difficulty's very kind of fucky, for lack of a better term, I find, with this game. As I've mentioned before, the second mission in almost all of them is usually the second hardest of each campaign, and then there's one, just a random other one, which is just designed to just fuck you over. It's a bit all over the place, but I don't know, there's a lot about this game where I get the impression they just didn't have the time, they didn't have the resources. Like, there's no skirmish mode. How on earth do you make a strategy game with no skirmish mode? Like, all you can do is the 21 missions. Like, what? There's no... I do sometimes wish that there would... someone would go back and, like, use some of the data to, you know, mod it a bit more. And one of the problems of this never being a PC release, this was only on the PlayStation 2 as far as I'm aware. There might have been a few other ports, but I'm not aware of them. And there's a few games like that. Like, if you look on my channel, there's a Terran Ascendancy Starship Troopers game where I feel like there was so much potential with it, and I only assume that a big part was that they ran out of time and they had to push it out, or they didn't have enough resources. But there's something so good to the core there that they just didn't quite, you know, use to its full potential, and it's so frustrating. I mean, this game probably would, if you had multiplayer, would not be balanced at all. But you could probably figure out a few fun things, but it was not meant to be. So yeah, as you can see, we're deliberately using our drones to scout ahead here, and a reason for this is that we kind of want some of them to die to free up some of our population cap. If we can get some more warriors and then just have a few drones to back up, that's the ideal situation. Drones are a good supplement to your army, but they're not really what you want to be the core of it. They're just not strong enough, and they don't have enough arms to deal with it. Like, as you'll notice from the previous part, even though we were attacking with, what, like 15, 20 drones, the smart gunner was still able to kill one or two of them. It's just because they don't really have much health or armor. They do struggle quite a bit. But what we're going to do, as I said before, we're moving forward as a group. We're going to upgrade our queen. Now, what this does is give her an extra 1,000 HP, so she's already insanely tanky before, and now she's even more ludicrously tanky. Yeah, we're just gonna kill him to put some hive nodes down. But it also, as you'll notice, the aliens around her now have this kind of like green aura, and what that is that they go into a frenzy. So they'll attack faster, they'll attack harder. They sometimes have some extra attacks to them. Like, I've noticed the runners tend to just do a full-on leap through someone with their leap attacks. So it's a lot of benefits to it. Of course, it means that if you want to use it to its full potential, you need to lead the queen with the charge. And this is what I mean by flamethrowers being the biggest problem on this mission, because it's difficult to get a a proper formation, because you're getting shot at with machine guns, you want to bum rush them so that the shots are having to be spread out a bunch amongst a lot of your aliens so that you can just overwhelm them. But the flamethrower unit is specifically designed to counter that. If you try to overrun them, then they're going to hit all of your units. And so you're left in a situation where there isn't a huge amount to do. If you send your aliens in spread out, then they'll just get gunned down by machine gun fire. If you send them in all at once, then they'll get flamethrowered. And so all you can really do is bum rush them and hope for the best. And we're going to have a lot of casualties in the process of doing this. We're going to send our queen in and to try and basically soak up that flamethrower as much as we can. It's going to lose a big old chunk of our horde, but that's fine. We can bounce back quite quickly. And if you'll notice, I deliberately left my Preatorian back, and the reason for that is in case my queen dies, then she can become, or he, she, I'm not sure of Praetorians, are they genderless? I don't want to assume their pronouns, but they can quickly take the queen's place and carry on. So it's always good to have like one Praetorian back somewhere, just in case your queen gets taken out, especially if you're doing what I'm doing, which is sending her in with the horde. It's a very aggressive approach, but I mean, it's one of the reasons why I think the aliens are probably the easiest campaign, minus this particular mission, is that it's very hard to take them out completely. As long as you have one Praetorian somewhere, they will bounce back. So it is, yeah. I mean, maybe it's because out of the colonial marines, the aliens and the predators, aliens are my favourites. I know there's a little bit of rivalry between people who prefer the predators and people who prefer the aliens, but I just find the aliens as a concept just so much more interesting. Like, they're a lot more alien, as funny as that sounds, although the predators are aliens. You can tell a lot in the way that they're designed and the fact they're quite humanoid. It borrows a lot from human traditions. Like, there's a lot of kind of tribalism, not tribalism. There's a lot of I'm trying to remember what the term is. There's a term when a character is not human, but they are specifically designed to be a certain race. And I remember I think Lindsay Ellis talked about this in one of her videos, and I cannot, for the life of me, recall off the top of the head what the term is. I think it's called coding. I could be wrong on that, though. But where a character is designed to have certain human traits, even though they're not human. And the Predator has that in spades. He's like a tribal warrior. There's a lot of coding in that aspect, even down to like the hair, which is almost dreadlocky in a sense. Although maybe I'm looking too much into it. But there's a big honor code to them. There's a lot of like a sense of warrior strength to them. So that there's certain aspects from different cultures we have as humans that you can draw from. You understand the idea of a hunter. You understand the idea of an honor code. The predators won't attack someone who is not capable of being a strong warrior because they're only trying to find someone else who is worthy of it. You can understand that. Whereas the aliens are very alien, funnily enough. There's something very unknown about them, and I find that so much more interesting. Until they make Alien Covenant and Prometheus and completely fuck up the backstory of them. But up until that point, they were very, very cool. Okay, and as you can see here, they'll just keep sending reinforcements, and they're quite strong at this point. So what we're going to try and do, and it's not going to work too well because they have a flamethrower, is see if we can... Nope. Oh no, we got a couple of kills with our face. We got a couple of kills. We got a kill with our facehugger. But yeah, we'll send her back. I say that the queen is probably strong enough to take these on. In fact, yeah, we're going to get the queen to suppress the flamethrower unit, and then we're going to have our facehuggers jump on the other ones, or kind of attempt to. Unfortunately, smart gunners are not the easiest thing to jump onto. But yeah, the queen can tank quite a lot by herself. Thankfully, she's very, very tough. And we're going to just leave the others to heal up. It is quite annoying in this game. You'll get road bumped quite a few times on this mission because of the flamethrower units. Every time you come across one, they're going to spurt your entire goddamn force, and then you'll have to sit by a little bit where you get whilst you get a node, I can't speak today, to heal them all up. And now we're just going to move forward and try and take out the lieutenant commanders, which we have to do with the mission. One thing we have to be wary of, and the lieutenant commanders, you know what they are by the fact that they're medics for some reason. There aren't other medics in this mission. I don't know why they didn't make them Comtechs. Thematically, that would have made a lot more sense, since the Comtechs are usually like the leaders. And there's a few more holding cells which have a few aliens in them. It doesn't really help us out all that much. It's more just for flavouring the level, making it a little bit more interesting. So yeah, we've had another annoying flamethrower unit, so we're just going to heal up off of that. So there is a Wayland Yutani executive who is dressed as a scientist, and we need to take them out. See, they just don't leave you alone, do they? We need to make sure that we take the executive out before we kill all of the lieutenant commanders. So if you kill all of them, you don't kill the Wayland Yutani executive, then you don't get the gold medal, which is frustrating because you need to kind of pre-know where he is so you don't accidentally kill anyone. You can't just carry the mission on. It is very, very, very frustrating. But yeah, the Queen, we're just going to get her to take these out. Gives us a nice little group of extra hosts. And it gives us an opportunity to keep bouncing back and forth. And we're slowly getting some more Preatorians from main nests, and which will give us these Ravagers. And Ravagers are just cool. I I don't know if they come up in any other kind of Alien media. I remember there was an Alien Resurrection game that my granddad used to play back in the day, and I recall there being a big old alien in there. I think it might have been like similar to a Ravager. I'm not sure. I'll have to go through and play that at some point. But yeah, just some of the extra alien designs they have in this game, they're just so cool. And I wish they had brought them in a bit more, like the different hierarchy of the xenomorphs. But yeah, what we want to do is move down the left hand side and destroy these control panels, because it is in one of these ones towards the bottom which has the Whaling nukes, in this one with the exosuits. And it's why also we wanted the Ravagers to, because they just carve through those exosuits. I say he looks like a scientist, he's actually just dressed like a normal person. And kill him. And that is the optional objective complete. And now you just send them out to just attack everything. If you end up losing them, you end up losing them. We just want to try and finish this mission quickly, really. And there we go. All leaders are dead. All done. Hate that mission. Glad that it's over. 110 enemies killed, but 60 lost. It's really tough, and only with 45 seconds to spare. It's not a friendly level. Right. Alien 6. Queen is kidnapped. Heavily armoured predators have entered your hive, destroyed most of your horde, and dragged away your queen in shackles. Without a queen, the hive is unable to grow and spread. You must band together and go out and set the queen free. Then, steps must be taken to ensure predators never again have this type of power over the hive.
Predators have taken your hive's queen, and you must get her back. First, locate and free the queen. Then, use predators as hosts to strengthen the hive and to guard against similar attacks in the future.
So we start this mission without a queen yet again, but don't worry, it's not nearly as frustrating as the previous mission was. One of the useful benefits of aliens is that most of them can just run up cliffs no problem, which is not something other factions can do. Like, terrain isn't much of an issue for them. So all you want to do is just make a beeline east. And I do find this is a little bit frustrating. Like, when you first start the game, you don't really know where the queen is, so it's easy to lose this mission just through like a lack of knowledge, because you'll just end up running into the enemy marine encampment and getting wiped out. And it's like, what? Because you don't have any drones starting either. You just have warriors and runners. So the only way you can heal is to go back to the Hive Nodes right at the start. So it's very easy to lose this mission if you don't know what you're doing. If you do know what you're doing, it's very easy to win. So just make a beeline to the east, and there we go, and just basically attack the queen to break her shackles. She's free, and then we've got a queen. So it was quite a strange start to this mission, because within a minute you can get your queen back. Now, you'll notice that the queen isn't called queen, but she's called freed queen. And the reason for that is that the optional objective for this mission is to keep her alive throughout the whole thing. And that's not something you should really struggle with. Queens are incredibly tough to kill at the best of times, so you're not really going to have too much, unless you like literally send her into the middle by herself. You're not gonna have too much trouble. So from taking all of those out, and that's why we took out some of the marines and some of the wildlife on the way here. First two upgrades you want to go for, and this will be a theme for, well, for the last 3 missions. I say it's a theme. Is 3 times a theme? The first two upgrades you want to go for is to have your eggs produce more facehuggers. Go for the egg upgrade, and also for the facehugger upgrade. Again, so we can build our forces up far quicker than if we didn't have them. And any of the marines that we took out on the way here, just bring them back, and we'll get a force pretty quickly. There is a bunch of wildlife spawning south of our position, which is where we're going to go to next. But we might as well get a little force first before we move on, just in case, because there's a few marine patrols around the place, and there's a few predators scouting out as well. So we want to have a decent sized force before we start moving out. And you'll notice on the minimap there, predators have come to take out the hive nodes. I mean, just let them do it. There's no point trying to defend that. There's not really any benefit to you. Just let them take them out. You're going to lose a lot more trying to defend something that you can't defend than if you just let it happen. And that's part of the parts of strategy games, isn't it? And chess and whatnot, you have to sacrifice certain pieces for the betterment of other pieces. Not that this is the most strategic game, but it's the same similar process. So one thing that I do find a little bit frustrating with this is the fact that we don't get any drones early on, so we can't make any cystic aliens. So we're not going to be as strong that way, but just have to make do with it. In actual fact, one benefit of not taking out the hive, or I should say not defending the hive nodes early on, is if you look on the minimap, we now have these orange spots moving across. And the reason for that is hive nodes, much like the runners, will emit what's known in the lore, I think, as spores. And once those spores have been seen by an enemy, they're now permanently tagged, so you can see them across anything. So we can see all the predators move down to the bottom right hand corner of the map, and also it helps us to ambush them later because we can see them moving along here. But that then tells us that's where the predator base is, because that's where they're congregating downwards. So we now have an exact pinpoint of where the predators are, which is what we're going to strike first. The optional objective of this game, as I mentioned before, is to keep the queen alive, and then the two main objectives is to kill all the marines and all the predators, just a complete extinction level. So what we're going to do is we have these weird crab things called critics. Some Oswocs that will help us gain drones, although we're not going to send the runners to take that Spearmaster out because he's just going to keep knocking us back. So from these weird crab things, you have kerns and critics, or critlicks. I'm not too sure how you pronounce them. You get runners, and the runners are going to help us take the queen out. Take the predator shrine out, because as I've mentioned before, they explode when they're on fire. The predator command center is a shrine which does fire damage, so we're basically going to kamikaze bomb them, and which is useful because the runners aren't too strong, so they're useful in that task. It's going to reduce our population cap, and then from the predators that we've killed, comatose, although they're totally dead. From the predators that we've knocked unconscious, we're going to get PredAliens, which is what we're going to then use to take out the marines. So we're going to upgrade our runners to make them a little bit stronger, and we've already got our full force hive.
6 minutes. So that's where you upgrade the... Oh, and there's a bloody exosuit, which doesn't last very long. One thing you'll notice, the runners have this leaping attack, which if you also have a queen who's upgraded to give them the frenzy ability, even though they are traditionally seen as the weakest alien out of the roster, they will just fuck things up on their first leap. That it was like a first strike capability you've given them. You've given them like a nuke missile. So we're just going to move all of them down and just keep them all together. Interestingly enough, I'm pretty sure the Queen and the Ravager, and actually no, I think the Carrier as well. Basically, the larger aliens are the only ones that can't walk up and down cliffs, which I guess makes sense because they're too big for it. They don't have the same kind of spider capabilities that the other smaller aliens have. But yeah, just that brawler just completely obliterated. It's quite funny to see it happen. Although they still have the weakness if we were to send them after humans, that from just massed flamethrowers and machine guns, they tend to get taken out quite quickly. But yeah, they actually become rather strong at taking out the predators with this upgrade. So we're just going to put a Hive Node down and just upgrade our PredAliens before we go into attack, so we can get a little bit of the experience for them from this assault. And then we're just going to keep them all together and hopefully just take out the enemy shrine in one go. It should be anywhere around here. And there it is, we can hear it. And then just, boom, gone. Absolutely obliterated. Like, we didn't even lose any. Geez, we think we lost like one alien from that. I was hoping to get some PredAliens, but we might have to keep the runners a little bit longer. We don't actually have the population cap to make any more aliens. That's awkward. Yeah, they're just brutal. It's like the only part of this whole game where I think runners are very, very useful or borderline overpowered is this section. They just absolutely mincemeat things when they can do that leaping attack. Oh, but we have a few predators that are coming back too late to defend the shrine. Once the shrine's taken out, you notice that any of the other predator stragglers should make their way back, and then which works out perfectly for us because it means that all of the hosts are now in one spot. So we're just going to bring all them in. And yeah, the predators, I mean, there's probably still a couple of stragglers running around, but yeah, the predators really aren't much of a threat in this mission, which is surprising because the lead up to it is, oh my god, the predators are fucking us up. But they really don't put up much resistance at all. In fact, the only real thing they do is give us some nice hosts to make some really strong aliens from. Ah, bloody Marine, killing my babies. Stay away from her, you bitch! That's just satisfying. Just seeing them just fly. PredAliens created, now kill all predators. Yeah, it's one of the objectives to make a bunch of PredAliens for this mission as well. I'm not sure why. There's like 3 main objectives to this mission, which is to make PredAliens, to make and to wipe out all the predators and marines. It's a bit of an odd one because we've made PredAliens in the past, but I don't know, it is what it is. So we have a bunch of predator corpses over to the right if ever we do take any significant casualties, but we're just gonna move all of our troops over, keep our queen with them to frenzy them up, and then just move over to take the marines out. Like I said, this is, considering how difficult the previous mission was, it's strange how easy by comparison this one is. Like, the only difficulty you'll come across is if at the start you don't go the right way, which I do find a little bit bullshit, that there isn't really any signposting of where you're meant to go. You're just supposed to know that the queen is in the top right hand corner. I'm not sure how, other than just through trial and error, but it's literally the only difficulty of this mission, I would say, is fucking up early. Once you've got your queen, it's smooth sailing from there. It's really not a challenge. So the Marine encampment is at the southwest section of the map. So we're going to mosey on over and take that one out. Take out any smart gunners along the way. And again, as we've done previously, it's just an absolute blitzkrieg to take them out. I'm just going to keep them all together, have a little look round. And there we go. Here they are. Yeah, as I said, the runners struggle a little bit more when they can't just keep leaping around, and the Marines tend to be more numerous than the Predators and be in close formation, so they can only do the leap attack when they have a little bit of a run up going into it. So when you have several of them in close proximity, they'll do the running attack on the first one, and then they'll just have to use their claws, and outside of their leaping attack they aren't very strong, so they'll struggle to churn through more or less anything. Oh, that's an exosuit. Where's that? Let's just pull them away a second. The exosuit of the Gatling gun, it needs time to... Queen? I've messed that up a little bit. It needs time to power up the Gatling gun. So what the idea was to pull them away to let it to spin down a little bit, but then we end up just attacking it normally. And we forgot to bring the... We're just messing everything up. Fortunately, we have enough aliens that it doesn't really make much of a difference, and that's nice. They're going to bring us fresh lunch right down on top of us. So yeah, just get your aliens in place and just annihilate them as they come into focus. So we have a few casualties here and there, but really nothing major. And we've just popped up that all the Predators have been wiped out. I don't know if... I'm imagining then it must have been like a Marine patrol that finished off the last straggler. But as I was saying, that they really don't have much of a presence on this map, considering the fact that they're meant to be the mainstay of the level. So I'm just going to try and get some Preatorian, see if we can get some more pure breed aliens out of it, but we don't really need to. I just more wanted to show off how strong the Ravagers are. It's not until the last mission that we really get to play around with all the tech tree has to offer. And there's the main bulk of the human encampment, which is also why we kind of wanted the Queen to be with them, just to enrage them all a little bit and get a bit more damage done in. So most of the aliens we're losing are probably going to be the runners, because they're lightly armoured, but that's fine. We'll be able to replace them with warriors, and if we were to go all the way over to the right, we could get some PredAliens, but we'll just stick them out with runners here. We've already cleared most of this map, because for some strange reason, even though it's the second last mission, and it's a very large map, there isn't a huge amount of resistance to deal with. It's a very odd one, but it kind of just brings back to... I think some of the design flaws that this game had, in that the difficulty was just all over the place. I don't think they did enough play testing to make sure it all meshed together. So we've cleared out the Predator camp, we've cleared out the alien camp, and all I'm going to do is all the aliens we have left, I'm just going to set them to kind of patrol all over the map. And again, this is similar to what we did on the second mission. Hopefully this will get them to split up and start just looking in every nook and cranny for any remaining Marines which are stopping us from finishing the mission, because we want to get to the last one. The last one is probably the most fun, I would say. It's not necessarily the most tricky, although there are some tricky parts to it, but it's where you just get to use everything. So it's the most entertaining, I would say, by a pretty significant margin. So there's one of the... Actually, I think there's two standing on top of each other. Two smart gunners who have been kind enough to give away their position by just shooting webbing. Good job, good job. Tweedledee and Tweedledum. So we just have our mass of whiteness. Oh, there we go. Yeah, one of the problems of sending them into patrol mode, and you can kind of see it now, that they're kind of freaking out a little bit rather than all attacking one spot. I'm not sure why that is. Again, the patrol mode is very useful towards the end of the mission to flush out any stragglers, but you want to try not doing it for any other situation, because it kind of fucks with the AI and they kind of turn a bit stupid and don't attack properly. I have no idea why that is. Again, maybe just like a lack of playtesting prior to this game's release, so they just didn't work out all the nooks and crannies. I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the description of even the original walkthroughs of this game that half the time you're going to be fighting with the controls and fighting with unit pathing more than the other races. Is a bit frustrating, especially because you're only allowed to make 4 control groups. So if you hold down the trigger and press on one of the D-pads, you can make 4 control groups, which in all honesty doesn't come in handy very often. For almost all, I think for the Predators are probably the only time it comes in handy, because for all of your, for your aliens and for your marines, most of the time you want to keep your troops together, and that makes sense. Is in the same as like in like a Total War game, you want to keep your army together, otherwise they're just going to get divided and conquered. So one of the weird aspects you find with these swollen eggs is that even when the population is quite low, it will say egg times 2, but only 1 facehugger will come from it. It's just one of those weird ones where it won't give just an egg 1 for some reason. I don't know, it's a bit strange, but just one of those things I don't think they double checked in editing too much. So we're going to turn those Predators into Ravagers. Not much point to it. We've pretty much finished the mission, but we got a bunch of points to spend, so might as well spending it on something. And I just love the Ravagers. I wish we had more opportunity to make use of them, because they're just so fucking cool. Look at them. They seem to have like lights on them for some reason, as if they're like machines. Where their claws are, there's sometimes like these weird lights that pop up. And I don't know if like the lore reason's meant to be that there's like some kind of like phosphorus bacteria that's causing the illumination. I don't know. It just seems like at times that they're almost more robotic than alien. But then again, you could argue the original xenomorphs were made to be almost metallic looking, because they have that kind of chic grey to them, almost like they're made out of iron. I think that's one of the. I think that was kind of an idea where H.R. Geiger was going when he developed the alien look, is that he wanted it to be very metallic, very sleek, and very sexual. Which probably sounds strange to say, but that was one of the themes of the original Alien, was the idea of being impregnated. It was like the fear of rape, as I recall. So some very messed up ideas, but they did make some very, very cool designs with it. Alien 7. Extinction of the bioengineered aliens. After your hordes overran the Weyland-Yutani research lab, and with Dr. Kandinsky now gone, the human effort to contain the K-series aliens has completely fallen apart. They now run free and compete with your hive for hosts and space. However, it's the very existence of an aberrant strain that poses the most profound threat to your aliens. The K-series genealogy creates a dangerous possibility that the future of your species will somehow be altered forever by combining with the new human-engineered strain. Instinctually, your aliens know the species must stay pure, and this racial anomaly must be eliminated once and for all.
Prepare for war. The existence of the bioengineered K-series aliens threatens the integrity and future of your species. You must kill every single K-series alien. You will not get a second chance.
I do find it quite strange that there's such a large emphasis on taking out the K-series
aliens, as they are in some way a detriment to the purity of our species, which I can understand to a certain extent. In genes, if you have maladaptive genes that somehow become integrated into your species, it could certainly cause problems down the line. And I can only imagine, and this is a big part of me trying to fill in the blanks of the lore, that the case series were created in some way to be more, not necessarily docile, but more easily controlled by humans. I'm not sure how. And if we get in the game, they, for all intents and purposes, are just another alien race. They act and behave exactly the same as yours do. I'm just trying to fill in some of the blanks as to why. I always found that very strange how Weyland-Yutani is so interested in gaining the alien for bioweapons research, like throughout all of the movies, like willing to let crew members die, willing to straight up sacrifice crew members in some of the later movies for an alien species that's somehow meant to be used as a weapon. Yeah, I can't help but think that just guns do a better job of it. Because, I mean, what is the idea if you're going to use it like a dirty bomb? So you release facehuggers into a hostile country or a hostile population. I'm presuming there's still some kind of wars in the alien universe. We don't really get to see much about Earth in that universe, what life's like, what factions there are. But I'm assuming that must be the case. But then, if they do their job and they've completely taken out an area, well, now you have like potentially millions of aliens you've got to cleanse before you can go and reclaim the area. I never quite understood the fascination that Weyland-Yutani has with it. I mean, in the first two movies, and I'm going to be an alien purist here and say how the first two movies were almost perfect and the later ones were shit, because they were interesting in the alien for research purposes, because they've never come across it before, and that's fair enough. If you're a corporate, to have the idea that a few lives is worth sacrificing to gain something that's virtually priceless. But yeah, when in the later ones where they chase after it to an almost psychopathic level, it reminds me of the new Jurassic Park movie, where Jurassic World is the correct term, where they're trying to train velociraptors for use in the military, and it's just like, that's a terrible idea. Like, how you can't control these things? Why? And then in the next one, it's like, oh, if you use this gun which points a laser, this genetically engineered raptor will kill whoever you're pointing to. And it's like, you know what else would do that even quicker? A gun. Like, so it made a lot more sense in the first two. Like, you want to have this creature for scientific purposes, for research purposes, because I imagine you could get a lot of money out of it. And money being a key incentive, I can understand. People are greedy. There's probably a lot of people who would pay a lot of money to be able to research a creature never before seen by humans. I'm not too familiar in the alien universe if they've come across other species, but there's a lot of genuine interest in it. When they're just throwing away entire installations to try and do bioweapons research, it's like, what are you doing? And I can only presume that the K series was supposed to somehow be more easily controlled, or I'm not sure if Dr. Kandinsky's ideas was he was going to somehow make the alien genes superior or something. I don't know, it comes across as very wishy-washy kind of motivation to basically pit you against another alien faction to, I guess, kind of spice up the gameplay. And it's something you'll notice with all the campaigns. With the Marines, you'll have to end up fighting other Marines for what are, to be fair, very contrived reasons. You have to speak properly at some point today. And the Predator, you also fight other Predators. But that makes a bit more sense because they have a very honor-bound warrior culture. So the idea that warriors would fight against other warriors for dominance and for honor makes a bit more sense. I'm guessing the reason why this K-series exists is purely because there would be no other reason why aliens would fight other aliens. It's a hive at the end of the day, same as like insect hives on Earth. You don't fight your own, because it just makes your hive as a collective weaker. So that's the only reason I can think of. I wish there was a little bit more explanation as to what the K-series were, like perhaps by using pheromones or by using implants or something, the humans were able to control them. But as we seen in the loading screen to this mission, it mentions how the humans are no longer able to contain them. They're now just a separate hive of aliens that have gone out and are doing their own thing, and humans can't control them anyway. So what was the point of making them yellow? Like, they're just even harder to camouflage now. Like, what possible? I know I'm trying to draw too much reasoning from it. It was again just a very contrived reason to have a bit more variety to what you're fighting. I just wish they'd spent a little bit more effort in it. But anyway, the optional objective of this particular mission is to wipe out all the predators, and the main objective is to wipe out all of the aliens. There are Marines present, but we do not need to kill them. There's no benefit other than the fact that we could get some more hosts, like warrior hosts. And for most of this mission, I consider PredAliens to be superior to the warriors anyway. So there's not really much point to go after them. The Marines on this particular level have a very heavily entrenched encampment at the center of the map with sentry guns, smart gunners, dart troopers, flamethrowers, everything you can name. And trying to take them out can actually be quite dangerous. You can lose a big chunk of your hive attempting to do so. And so since it's not part of our optional objective and it's not part of our main objective, we're just going to ignore them. Every now and then they might send a few scouts out that will, kill for some infestation points and potentially use as hosts, but there's no point really to go after them. There's nothing to gain from it. So there's two main predator encampments, and we've just taken out the first and also by far the smaller of the two, which is at south of the map, which will give us a nice bunch of PredAliens to replace some of the drones that we've started out with. As you can see already, they're sending some Marines out to take out the Hive Nodes, which is also why we're trying to keep all of our aliens together. There's a lot of enemies constantly roaming on this map, and if you're having to flick through like your alien strike force and then perhaps like your queen who's back at home or wherever your hive is, you're having to flick between the two, it can be quite difficult to control all of them. So we're just going to keep everyone together. Rather than drag hosts to our queen and our egg sac, we're going to bring our hive to the hosts. And it's something for, a lot of this game I just find better to do as the aliens. You move far quicker that way. So we're just going to quickly heal our troops up. We've gotten quite a lot of infestation points, so we're in the position where we can start doing a few upgrades and maybe getting a few Preatorians to get some of our stronger species. Ravagers in particular are very useful for taking out the main predator encampment, because the main predators in this mission are very, very, very heavily entrenched in. Like, they were a complete pushover in the last mission. In this mission, they don't take any prisoners. They have way more predators than you would be able to if you played as the predators. Their population cap is significantly increased to the point that I'm pretty sure there's more predators than you have aliens at the start of the game, at least. Like, obviously they're a bit more spread out, so you have to do it because of the AI, but as is often the case with RTSs, the AI cheats. The AI cheats a lot, and the predators are just absolutely inundated with they've got military grade hydras, blazers, pred guns, everything. You cannot beat them by just trying to blitzkrieg them. Quite similar to how we had to take the pred guns out in mission 3 by coming in, doing a bit of damage, pulling out with these hit and run strategies. That's exactly what we have to do. If you try and just overwhelm them, maybe on easy difficulty it'll work, maybe even on normal difficulty it will work. On hard it ain't gonna work. You're just gonna get your whole hive wiped out, and that's even with your queen with them to bolster them up. They're just not strong enough to overtake them. So we've got one that's just running away from us for some reason. Let's quickly track him down. There's a disc masker that's attacking the hive nodes to the left, but we can just let him to it. So when we started this mission, one of the areas, rather than make the hive up at the beginning, we wanted to make them up with the Oswocs and the cultists were. There is also a area of Oswocs that spawn a bit north of where you start, but I find that section in the bottom left to be the best area to kickstart. If you end up trying to make your hive at the start of the mission, you'll just end up getting attacked by marine patrols, by predator patrols, and you're just going to have a real hard time actually getting your forces up to being able to do anything. So this is the second predator cave, or the second area at least, and it's the north side where they're most heavily trenched in. So we're going to go south first and see if we can clear out any stragglers so they don't start shooting us in the back when we begin our main assault on the main predator area. And the stalkers, yeah, even the stalker managed to kill one of our aliens before we got into range. They are very, very strong. And what always made the predators in this game was the fact that individually they were strong, but they were supposed to be few in numbers. So when you give them lots of numbers, the balancing gets all thrown out of whack. And I get you want to have a little bit more of a challenge because it's the final mission, but Jesus Christ. It's a massive step up in difficulty. So we're going to move north, and around here is where their main encampment is. So we're going to try and be careful. We're going to take out what ones we can, but the second we start to get overwhelmed, we're going to be pulling everyone back to heal up. So just be very cautious with our movements. If we can pick them off, and there's the shrine. As you can see, we're taking quite heavy casualties from this. It's relatively unavoidable. There's only so much you can do. So yeah, we've taken about half of our total hive as casualties. We've lost about 20 aliens, but if you'll notice, most of the ones that we've lost are the drones, and well, we have a few warriors that are kind of half hanging in there as it is. We'll go and get some hive nodes, hopefully. I say hive nodes, we don't have any drones left. We'll be able to set up sort of nodes just by putting the queen's egg sac down. But pretty much the only ones we have remaining are Preatorians, a few warriors, and the PredAliens, and that's kind of fine because that just means that we've made our hive a little bit stronger. We're just winnowing off the weak breeds, as it were. And a good part of this is that we now have a lot of predator corpses with us, so we can just make more PredAliens. As you can see, these things just, especially when they're empowered by the queen, just absolutely tear through units. So some of the K series have come in like, oh, predator corpses, we're going to make use of this, so we want to stop them from being able to do that. But the PredAliens we do still have, they've just done their little vomit aim thing, and there you go, like over 900 HP. They have become exceptionally strong. And now we have a whole bunch of predator corpses to make more PredAliens, which are, let's face it, pretty much the best transbreed aliens you can get. So the predators aren't finished yet, and that's why I've stopped pushing forward. There's actually another nest of them further up north in the cave, and with the forces that we had at this point, there is absolutely no way we would have been able to take them. So we're going to take this opportunity to replenish our numbers and really just make our hive a little bit stronger. Rather than having more drones or anything, we're going to be having mostly PredAliens, which just get stronger and stronger the more they survive. As I mentioned before, like some of the PredAliens I've had ended up with over 1500 HP. They get incredibly tough. I mean, how much does this one have? I mean, that one has over 1000 already. Just from the fighting we've been doing, they get incredibly strong, and they are very, very good shock troopers because they're so heavy. They don't get knocked back by like spear troopers. They don't get knocked back by a lot of things really, and they're just brilliant. They're just awesome. And fortunately, because we don't really have to fight the Marines, or we have the opportunity to fight the Marines, I should say, but we're choosing not to because there's no benefit in doing so. We don't have to worry about them not having too much kinetic armor. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to get a carrier, and I'm pretty certain actually with this playthrough it's the only time I end up using a carrier, to carry some facehuggers on them, and we're going to use him to spread them out a little bit whilst being safe. The carrier can actually be quite useful because when they attack, if they have any facehuggers attached to them, they will just shoot them out. And even if you're attacking a unit that normally would be able to defend off facehuggers, for instance, if like it was a brawler who normally just deals with them by hacking them out of the air, it doesn't work when you have a carrier on your side. That said, they still can't deal with flamethrowers, and in fact they've got a little bit of residual flame from that last attack, so we're going to get them all to attach onto our carrier. As you can see, they're nurturing quite a lot there. Now the carrier is a little bit of a glass cannon in and of itself. It only has 400 HP, and in order to be able to carry the facehuggers which I have on it, it has to actually lose some of its armor as well as some of its HP. But it can be a very good kind of suicide trooper, which we're going to probably end up using it as. Most of the time you're going to end up wanting Ravagers, but if the Hive is a little bit weak like it is now, he can be useful in that he will attack someone, and if you have the upgrade for the carrier, after the facehuggers have detached from the main carrier, they actually have a few seconds of invulnerability from having nutrients from the carrier, or whatever reason the game wants to give for why they can't be killed. The only exception to that is if the carrier is killed by fire. But if it's not killed by fire, basically you just spew out a bunch of facehuggers which cannot be killed. And if you're dealing with some very tough predators that aren't brawlers, for instance the military hydras and blazers, you just spew out facehuggers, which you can make very easily, and they just kill everything. It's actually quite an effective, almost like a biological dirty bomb that you can use on them. But I'm only going to use one carrier, and I would recommend never really using more than one. It's just kind of a waste of resources. If you have a Preatorian, you probably want to make them into Ravagers, and a reason for this, especially if you upgrade them, is if they get damaged by means other than fire. Again, fire, a big killer to the aliens for everything except the runners. If they get killed by means other than fire, they will start to go through a regenerative process where they then come back to life. And this isn't just a one-off that I've noticed. If you are being attacked by units which do not have high enough DPS to kill the regenerative process, they're basically like invulnerable to being killed. They can't die. So as long as they don't get swarmed, and as long as they don't get attacked by fire, you're not going to kill them. It can be, you know, a little bit problematic that they don't cause host, they just kill their prey outright. But if you're leading them in with other aliens anyway, then chances are other aliens are going to be the ones that deal the finishing blow, and all that matters is whatever deals the finishing blow. The Ravager can get a couple of attacks in, and admittedly their attacks are quite powerful, so there's a good chance it can kill them. But if they're not the ones to hit the final killing blow, they will be comatose. So you're still going to get your hosts anyway, and by the time your host is strong enough to have Ravagers at that point anyway, chances are you don't need hosts anymore. As you can see, if you look at the map at the moment, we have yellow splodges, which basically mean hosts, all over the goddamn place. We don't need any more. We don't need any more comatose characters. We don't need any more hosts. We have a strong alien hive at this point. All we need to do is find a way to take out the final predators that are nesting up north. And again, this is the benefit of the carriers. The vanguards that the predators use are very, very slow, which means you will facehugger them before they can even get a blow in. If you watch my predator campaign walkthrough, you'll see why they can be useful in certain contexts, but they are a very strange unit. So at this point, yeah, we're going to just send our carrier in, try and get some damage done, set the facehuggers out, and with the predators, rather I should say the PredAliens. Okay, he got killed by a blazer, so we didn't get much use out of him. But the PredAliens we have are now going to get even stronger, and that's pretty much the last main bastion of the predators that they have. There's probably a few predators scraggling around that we need to go take out, but all their shrines are now dealt with, so we can just focus on wiping them out. And it might not seem like much, that particular shrine up north. I mean, it's just a shrine and a couple of military predators like hydras and blazers, but trust me, they will absolutely fuck you up if you're not careful. They're spaced in such a way that the flames will hit pretty much all of your units, and the hydra with the shrine coming in will just wipe them out. And it's a testament to just how strong the predators are, that just a handful of them can absolutely stop your hive in its place. But that's most of them dealt with now, and that's pretty much the final challenge you're going to have in the Alien campaign, is the kind of two-tier defensive positions that the predators have set up. So we're going to get our spoils from this, we're going to drag their corpses back, and we're going to have an army made up almost extensively of PredAliens. And the only thing left to do in this mission is to take out the K-series aliens. And with a shit ton of PredAliens and with a shit ton of Ravagers, they're not going to put up much of a fight. Taking out the Predators is by far the hardest part of this mission if you are going for that optional objective. And it's something that I find a little bit of a letdown with this game. As much as I do like it for what it is, it does have a lot of flaws. And a big part of that, as I've said before, there's no skirmish mode. You only get these 7 missions to actually play with the faction you want to play with. And it's only the final 2 that you have full access to all of the units in it. There's no kind of like practice mode or skirmish mode or anything. And it's really just not... You don't have enough there to really get to play with the tools that you're given. I mean, I've got a bunch of Ravagers. We haven't really been able to use them. And I mean, because they cost so damn much, and it's only now towards the end, and you just look, oh, so satisfying, that the weird kind of squealing they do when they kill someone. I'm not sure why you're squealing when you're doing the attacking. That's like when you have a serial killer and he's screaming as he's stabbing you. It's like that's not the right way around. There's just something so satisfying when they take an enemy's head off. Because it always seems to be the kill animation with the Ravagers, take someone's head off and you just see like acid blood spurt out or something, and it's just so cool, but you don't get to use them enough. That's nice. They're going to walk a carrier right into us, and the carrier is of absolutely no threat to us whatsoever, as facehuggers cannot impregnate other aliens, so nothing to worry about from that particular suicide. I mean, that's I guess another problem with it. The AI is I mean, even the pathfinding, as we can see here, is a bit dodgy. That's a glitch. It happens a couple of times out there. It was nice they would send the last predator in to get taken out, but that's all the predators dealt with. There's a weird glitch I've noticed a few times, and I'm not sure if it's in the original game files or if it's as a result of me emulating it, but sometimes you'll see a pred gun which is packed up and still shooting you. You shouldn't be able to do it, you should have to deploy first. But anyways, we should move to take up the K-series, which, as I said, is more of a formality at this point. The mission's pretty much done. And we know exactly where they are because of the spores that we produce from our Hive nodes and from other runners. If ever the aliens pull back any corpses that we have tagged with those spores, we can see them. And you'll notice if ever you play this mission, you'll start to see this yellow blob in the north part of the map. And although if you scroll over, you won't be able to see them, you can track them on the mini-map, and it's because you've spotted them before. So the game tags it as comatose. Yeah, I should say comatose. Potentially impregnatable hosts. Can't speak today. That you can use, and so it gives away the position of exactly where the enemy queen is. So with our massive stack of a queen, Ravagers and PredAliens, we're just going to waltz up there and fucking murder everything, and we are not going to have any trouble. But I'll be surprised if we lose even more than a couple aliens. Just let them go, just absolutely tear them apart, and then fuck the queen up, get the little Ravager things in. And oh, look at that. Oh, beheaded. Get fucked, you yellow bastard. Oh, as a kid, that was always so satisfying. And a little PredAlien screaming, so they're having bigger spikes, even more HP. Yeah, we've basically taken out the main bulk of the alien hive, and we've lost one alien. A big part of that, I think, is because they tend to be quite spread out, because they're constantly trying to bring new hosts in. So now, much like with the Predators, we play the where the hell is the last alien hiding, so we can finish this damn mission. So we're just going to have a quick keep searching around. It's a shame that there wasn't an a second part to this mission where you get to fight the Marines, because it would be nice if you could take up the K-Series Hive, because whilst you're fighting on all of these Hive nodes, you would be permanently regenerating. So it's a good opportunity to have the home ground defensive advantage, which we've had a few points throughout the mission, throughout the game, I should say. And a few times we get to use that, and those aren't the last of them. Where on earth are the last of these ones? This is always the problem I find with missions where you have to kill everything. And I remember playing a lot of Dawn of War multiplayer back in the day, and you would completely beat the enemy Eldar player, but he would just have one of his builders just go teleporting around the map and just building little webway gates. So even though you've won the game, you would then have to spend another 20 minutes just trying to track down the remaining buildings that he's gone, because he thinks that he's going to make some kind of dramatic comeback. And it's like, it's not going to happen, my dude. Just give up, please. I want to move on to the next mission. Move on to the next game. But yeah, no, where are these bloody things? Probably out trying to mess with the Marines somewhere. Usually if you're having a hard time taking them out, much like when we had the Pred gun come at us earlier, they tend to go to wherever their designated base is. So we're just going to quickly go back to where the Queen had her nest hatched up, and hopefully any predators, any aliens that are remaining will come back to our position and we can just take them out. Otherwise we're going to be searching everywhere, and a few Marines have been trying to venture in. They're not gonna last long against this horde. Unfortunately, we can't just set everything out to go into patrol mode, because there is still quite a beefy Marine base in the center of the map, and if we spread everything out, they will absolutely kill us. So we have to unfortunately keep everyone together. We can't use the patrol tactic that we've used in a few previous missions. We just have to hope we can find the last of them. And look how many points you have from taking them out. You get so many points for killing the K-Series for some reason, even though they're really not that much of a threat. So let's just make a few more Ravagers. Why not? Why not? We have the Preatorians to spare. Let's I always used to do this as a kid, is even after the mission was done, I used to try and set everything up in such a way that, imagine if this carried on after I stopped playing. Sounds really, really sad to play. I used to play a lot of Age of Empires and used to try and set things up after the mission was ended. It's like, this community can grow and thrive after I'm done, because I thought I was playing The Sims. And hello. It would have been nice if that actually defended the Queen, wouldn't it? Enemy Ravager. But let's just gangbang this one. and it's just going to walk away. It's not going to fight there, and it's dead. That was pathetic, absolutely pathetic. But yeah, I mean, it's what happens when you can stack melee units on top of each other. And there we have it. Alien campaign. All optional missions done. All done under the part-time. All on hard difficulty. And we're not going to get any. We're not even going to get a cutscene to be like, "Congratulations, you're so great." It just ends abruptly. But anyways, we're about to go over to the Bestiary, so I will get my narrating voice ready. Transbreed versus purebreed. Drones, runners, warriors and PredAliens are known as transbreed aliens. Different types of hosts produce different transbreeds, many of which possess attributes and abilities superior to those found in their hosts. Aliens such as Preatorians, Queens, Carriers and Ravagers, however, are considered to be purebreed aliens. They can spawn from any host and more purely represent the multi-species interstellar parasite that is the aliens. While transbreeds enable aliens to adapt to a target species, purebreed aliens enable them to overpower it. Creating more transbreed aliens. Aliens create more of their kind by infecting other species. To do this, aliens typically attack an enemy until it becomes unconscious, so that a facehugger can safely attach itself. After this, a chestburster is born, which subsequently cocoons itself before turning into an adult alien. The type of adult alien created typically relates to the type of victim that was impregnated. Generally speaking, more advanced species produce better aliens. Creating a queen. The aliens can spend infestation points to morph a Preatorian into a queen. The Preatorian is the basal purebreed alien, and it is able to turn into other advanced alien species besides the queen. To create a Preatorian, the alien must morph an egg into a Preatorian egg. This kind of egg produces a Preatorian facehugger, which can create a Preatorian from any host. Both creating Preatorian eggs and morphing a Preatorian into a queen require small infestation point expenditures. Creating other purebreed aliens. To create Carriers and Ravagers, the aliens must expend infestation points and morph available Preatorians. This activity may only be performed when a queen already exists, and only after the Preatorian subspecies has been upgraded. Upgrading aliens. An alien hive may upgrade all the instances of a particular subspecies through the queen. The queen alone can access the vast genetic database evolved by the alien species to select the appropriate counter-evolutionary response to threats currently being experienced by her hive. Naturally, rapidly evolving her brood in this way costs infestation points. Earning infestation points. Aliens earn more infestation points by rendering active enemies unconscious, whether by attacking or facehugging them. Unlike other species, aliens do not need to spend infestation points on ordering reinforcements. Instead, they spend them on upgrades, creating hive nodes, and morphing eggs and Preatorians. Regeneration. All aliens can regenerate when in contact with hive web, the repulsive black secretions found in alien hives. The runner and the PredAlien, however, have advanced metabolisms and can regenerate whether near hive web or not. This later kind of roaming regeneration does not occur while a runner or a PredAlien is actively taking damage. It stacks on top of standard hive-based regeneration though, enabling these organisms to regenerate quite rapidly when in the hive. Spore site. Hive nodes, runners, Preatorians and queens emit spores. Spores coat living organisms and grow upon them for an extended period of time. Spores have numerous sensors and relay what they see by encoding this information on ambient radiation that bounces off of them and finds its way to other aliens. This spore site enables the hive to track hosts long after they have left the vicinity of any nearby aliens. Naturally, spores defeat predator cloaking.
acid. All aliens have blood that is remarkably caustic. Unsurprisingly, several alien subspecies have adapted it to use their blood as a weapon. After striking an enemy, alien acid damages it for some time before neutralizing, causing horrendous semi-permanent wounds on organic targets. Furthermore, kinetic armor is less effective while being burned by acid, and aliens instinctively leverage this effect by purposefully tearing into the sizzling wounds of their victims. All aliens are fully immune to the effects of their acid. Strengths. The aliens are easily the most numerous of species, since they are able to infect most life forms of dog size or larger, and unlike other species, can replenish their numbers free of cost. They are also tough physically, with alien subspecies like PredAliens, Ravagers, and Queens capable of becoming nearly unstoppable juggernauts. Of all the species, the aliens are the most difficult to cut off from fresh reinforcements and upgrades. Killing a queen in her hive is no small feat. Weaknesses. Aliens must work hard to generate reinforcements, frequently needing complete victory in combat to ensure readily accessible hosts. If a hive falls behind in its growth, it may become unable to win further battles, and therefore unable to recover from losses. Aliens also have few ranged attacks, causing them to rely on overwhelming numbers and brute force. Lastly, facehuggers and chestbirders are easy to kill, and hence a vulnerable link in the alien reproductive cycle. Description. The Hive Node creates hive web in a circular area around where it grows. The Hive Node is produced by the drone and by the queen when she lays her egg sac. Characteristics. Hive web creation. The Hive Node is a living creature that steadily grows acid-secreting tendrils into whatever it is attached to. These tendrils leach nutrients from surrounding materials and use them to grow a web of living incrustations around the Hive Node. This hive web packages nutrients for easy absorption by nearby aliens, enabling them to regenerate when touching it. When a hive node dies, its ability to supply nutrients dies with it, causing hive web around the node to wither and die. Spore emissions. Hive nodes produce alien spores. Spores coat living organisms and grow upon them for an extended period of time. Spores have numerous sensors, and they relay what they see by encoding this information on ambient radiation that bounces off of them and then finds its way to other aliens. This spore site enables the hive to track hosts long after they have left the vicinity of any nearby aliens. Spores defeat predator cloaking. Strengths. The hive node is armored and regenerates quickly. It can be placed close to combat areas to enable wounded aliens to replenish their health quickly. This is particularly useful for extending the movement range of facehuggers, which might otherwise run out of energy when moving to distant locations. Because the hive node is a spore emitter, it also makes an effective spotter and early warning system for the hive. Weaknesses. While physically tough, the hive node has no ability to attack on its own. It is particularly susceptible to armor-piercing and fire-based weaponry. Description. The facehugger propagates the alien species by parasitically attaching itself to the facial area of a host life form and impregnating it with a chest burster. This is easiest when prey has become incapacitated and moved someplace safe by adult aliens, but the facehugger can also scuttle after prey and leap onto it if necessary. Hosts do not remain conscious when face-hugged in this manner, and there are no recorded instances of hosts surviving once they have been impregnated. Characteristics: impregnation. The facehugger is unique in its ability to infect hosts. Since this process incapacitates the victim instantly and permanently, it can be used to remove powerful enemies from combat without heavy losses. The type of alien that is produced by a facehugger's impregnation typically depends upon the type of host. Reactive dormancy. The hatched facehugger has the unusual habit of cannibalizing one of his internal organs for energy. Accordingly, the facehugger loses health as it exerts itself. It can repair this organ by regenerating on hive webbing, like other aliens, or by clutching the riding spines of a carrier. This unusual sustenance mechanism appears to enable the facehugger to have an unlimited lifespan while inactive. In other words, the creature is short-lived while active, but immortal while dormant, making it an ideal stowaway on long interstellar flights. Subspecies: Preatorian facehugger. There is a larger, more armoured version of the common facehugger that produces Preatorians no matter what type of host it impregnates. This Preatorian facehugger is tougher, has a longer roaming range, and can leap further than the common facehugger. Upgrade: binary parasitism. The facehugger develops a chemical trigger that causes the chest burster it carries to split into twins when producing simpler aliens, such as the drone and the runner. The aliens can use this ability to jumpstart hive growth in wilderness areas. Strengths: the facehugger is best used on prey rendered comatose by adult aliens. It can also be used in large numbers, or in conjunction with other aliens to take down prey otherwise capable of defending itself. When combined with a carrier, multiple facehuggers can become powerful ranged weapons, able to quickly incapacitate large numbers of enemies. Weaknesses: the facehugger is small enough that it can be killed in one shot by most attacks, and in large numbers by high fire rate weapons like the smart gun. Some melee predators are trained to strike a leaping facehugger mid-flight, making them difficult targets while conscious. Furthermore, robotic enemies are immune to impregnation altogether, as are certain heavily armoured opponents such as the exosuit. Finally, the unique design of the flamethrower marine's ape suit renders him immune to facehugging while conscious. Description: as the worker bee of the alien hive, the drone performs a variety of utility roles, including dragging hosts back to the hive for impregnation and moving eggs around the hive itself. Other adult aliens can perform these tasks as well, but it is the drone that is most cost efficient in this role. The drone is unique among aliens for its ability to create hive nodes. These in turn create hive web, which aliens use to regenerate. Drones are produced by infecting Oswocs. Characteristics: Hive node creation. The drone is uniquely capable of manufacturing embryonic hive nodes inside its body. It places these nodes within the hive to extend its reach, or in remote locations to enable more combat-orientated aliens to recover from the often dangerous task of securing hosts. Hive nodes are genetically complicated enough that generating them requires spending precious infestation points. Upgrade: Cystic acid spittle. The drone develops a cyst-filled acidic froth that it spits on potential hosts. The cysts invade the body through the resultant acid-induced wounds, whereupon they cause tumours, that use the host's body to generate nutrients beneficial to transbreed chestburster development. Accordingly, adult transbreed aliens from caustically infected hosts are tougher than usual. These cystic aliens have a red streak running along the dorsal region of the head. A red circle beneath cystically infected hosts signifies their plight. Strengths. The drone is useful in a support role, since it can create hive nodes that enable other aliens to regenerate. When it is upgraded, and when the facehugger is upgraded, the drone develops into a useful combatant. It becomes one of the few aliens that can attack at range. It strengthens the brood in victory, and it is frequently available in large numbers, many of which are often cystically enhanced. Weaknesses. Whether upgraded or not, the drone has no armor and is vulnerable to almost any weapon. An upgraded medic can heal cystic infections, as can all predators via their medicomp, meaning hit and run infection tactics are inadvisable. Robotic enemies cannot be cystically infected, nor can the pilot of the hermetically sealed exosuit. Finally, cystic acid spittle is useless against enemy aliens, forcing the drone to revert to its claws against them. Description. The runner is a lightweight, high-speed alien built for scouting and raiding. Thanks to its abnormally high output metabolism, this alien conjures images of a rapid terrestrial cheetah, but one that never tires and can leap into prey with the force of a sledgehammer. Moreover, it emits spores and has a skeleton that explodes violently when overheated, making it a powerful suicide weapon against enemies that use fire. The runner is produced by infecting kern or krill ticks. Characteristic: biohydraulic lunge. When a runner is far enough away from a target, it can lunge towards it at tremendous velocity. The runner commonly leaps at its victim's neck, which it strikes viciously on impact. This causes damage that is often unexpectedly severe from a creature of the runner's size. Pyroreactive cartilage. The runner is unusual in that it contains a cartilaginous framework throughout its body that expands inwards when exposed to heat. This creates enormous pressure inside the beast's skeletal system that are suddenly and violently released by an automatic neurological trigger should the creature die while overheated. In turn, this causes the cartilage to shatter along jagged internal fault lines, resulting in a high-speed burst of razor-edged biological shrapnel that strikes everything nearby. Metabolic overdrive. The runner has an unusually high speed and metabolism that enables it to heal at truly astounding rates. This regeneration does not occur when the runner is being attacked, as its body must cope with the internal system shock produced by penetrating wounds. This coping period is short, however, after which biological repair happens so quickly that it is observable with the human eye. Spore emission. The runner produces alien spores. Spores coat living organisms and grow upon them for an extended period of time. Spores have numerous sensors, and they relay what they see by encoding this information on ambient radiation that bounces off of them and then finds its way to other aliens. This spore site enables the hive to track hosts long after they have left the vicinity of any nearby aliens. Spores defeat predator cloaking. Virulence. The upgraded runner develops a large number of subcutaneous stinger-tipped venom sacs across its extremities. On contact with a victim, the stingers inject high concentrations of alien spores that multiply in sufficient quantity to turn bodily fluids black and soupy, sickening and nauseating the host organism in the process. Needless to say, aliens can use these spores to track prey that has become weakened by the sickness the spores induce. Strengths. The runner is best used as a scout or a raider, particularly since it can detect even cloaked enemies and quickly recover from otherwise crippling encounters. Its upgrade reinforces its role as a raider, as runners can sicken their targets and then back off to let them weaken. Sickened enemies frequently find their combat effectiveness reduced by uncontrollable vomiting, making them easy prey for more powerful aliens. Given its pyroreactive cartilage, the runner also excels at eliminating fire-wielding attackers. Weaknesses. Despite its many abilities, the runner is one of the physically weaker aliens. It has no armor, and its claws have a hard time penetrating armor. As such, it cannot withstand prolonged combat with most enemies. Also, the runner cannot benefit from its innate regenerative abilities while irradiated by enemies, like the upgraded Flamethrower Marine and the upgraded Smart Gunner. Description. The warrior is the primary alien assault organism. It is fast, reasonably tough, and a savage combatant. Even in death, the warrior is dangerous, bursting apart when killed and drenching nearby enemies in acid. The warrior is created by infecting humans. Characteristics. Pressurized bloodstream. When an alien warrior is killed by weapons that cause massive physical trauma, its pressurized bloodstream causes the creature to explode, showering the surrounding area with acid. This typically does not happen if the warrior is on fire, however, since fire causes the creature to harden into a charred mass. Upgrade. Onslaught Genome. When upgraded, the warrior becomes suitable for heavy assault. First, it develops hardness chitinous ridges that enable it to penetrate tougher armors. Second, it develops redundant life support systems, enabling it to continue operating even after sustaining crippling damage such as limb loss. Third, it improves its capacity to repair itself via Hive Web. The latter two abilities combine to enable the creature to regenerate lost limbs and return to perfect health through sustained healing at the Hive. Strengths. The warrior performs well in many situations. Large numbers of warriors are good for wearing down biological enemies, given that acid causes wounds that are very difficult to heal. Additionally, the upgraded warrior's redundant vascular systems can spray acid twice, first when the warrior is crippled and then when it is killed. Even so, the upgraded warrior has a good chance of surviving hard-fought battles, because it can often crawl back to the hive in a crippled state and regenerate itself back to full health. Weaknesses. The warrior is particularly vulnerable to fire. Flame often so thoroughly bakes the warrior that it prevents the creature from showering the surrounding area with acid upon death. It also prevents the upgraded warrior from returning to operations. Burns are often pervasive throughout the creature's entire body, defeating its redundant life-sustaining systems. Description. The PredAlien is one of the Hive's heavy assault organisms, as it is tougher than the warrior and capable of inflicting more damage. While it does not have the protective armor of the warrior, it constantly secretes a flame-retardant coating that makes the creature impossible to ignite and generally resistant to heat damage. Naturally, a PredAlien emerges from an impregnated predator. Characteristics. Digestive bite. Periodically, the PredAlien bites its prey and injects it with acidic saliva. The PredAlien then quickly drains and consumes the nutrient slurry that results, replenishing its health in the process. Advanced metabolism. The PredAlien has a powerful enough metabolism that it can automatically heal itself even when away from the nourishing touch of alien hive web. This automatic regeneration is not nearly as quick as that of the runner, but it is similar in that it does not occur while the PredAlien is suffering physical trauma. Fire retardant secretions. Given that predators come from an arid death world, it is not surprising that the PredAlien has natural heat resistance. Its secretions absorb heat and evaporate, creating a flame-extinguishing cloud around the creature. Accordingly, it cannot be set on fire, and it sloughs off most heat damage. Upgrade. Predatory growth response. The PredAlien has an unusual adaptation that enables it to better subdue predator populations. As the creature engages in combat, it accumulates growth hormones in its body. When enough hormones have accumulated, the creature can pause to molt when unthreatened. The PredAlien that emerges is tougher than before, sporting extra bony protuberances on its back as an indication of its overall power. A PredAlien that has survived numerous combats can become exceedingly tough as a result of this adaptation. Strengths. Even a moderately sized group of PredAliens is a force to be reckoned with. They are hard to keep at bay with any kind of suppressive fire. They largely ignore heat-based weaponry, and they can heal anywhere after battle. If kept alive across several battles after being upgraded, such a force can become extremely tough to resist in a head-on conflict, as it becomes impossible to bring down before inflicting Weaknesses. The PredAlien's primary vulnerability is its lack of any kind of armor. This means that it can most easily be brought down by massed kinetic weaponry. It is also quite vulnerable to radiation, since this prevents the creature from regenerating when not on hive web. Description. The egg stores and protects the facehuggers it contains from enemies, harsh environments, and the passage of millennia. When an infectable host wanders close to an egg, it awakens its contents and hatches. Once an egg has disgorged its contents, it dies. Only the queen can lay eggs. Subspecies. Preatorian egg. The queen can stimulate the production of Preatorians by spending the resources of the hive to metamorphose an egg into a Preatorian egg. As its name implies, the Preatorian egg produces Preatorian facehuggers, each of which is capable of producing a Preatorian from any kind of host. Upgrade. Adaptive hyperfertility. Since they contain multiple facehuggers, hyperfertile eggs are swollen and oversized. When they hatch, they release their contents under pressure and direct them towards nearby hosts. This behavior also happens reflexively on death, in a violent acid-drenched explosion. Hyperfertile eggs automatically scale their size to relative hive strength. In other words, when the hive is weak, the queen instinctively produces larger hyperfertile eggs, and when the hive is strong, the reverse is true. Strengths. Standard eggs are typically best kept close to the hive, where they can provide extra protection for the facehuggers they contain. Hyperfertile eggs, however, can be used as a kind of static defense to guard key areas, since they hurl facehuggers at attackers, even if killed from standoff range. Hyperfertile eggs are also somewhat resistant to predator melee attacks because of the acid they release upon death. Weaknesses. Enemies that are invulnerable or resistant to facehuggers excel at killing eggs. Eggs have no power to defend themselves outside of their ability to release their deadly cargo. Enemies that can attack from extended range are also good at killing eggs, since they can complete their work without fear of reprisal. Description: the Preatorian is the basal purebreed alien strain from which all other adult purebreed aliens spring. It can be created from any type of host via the Preatorian Facehugger. In terms of its combat abilities, the Preatorian is a powerhouse, possessing incredible durability, a hardened exoskeleton, armor-piercing claws, and the hideous ability to disgorge vast quantities of acidic blood on its enemies. The Preatorian's distinctive head crest is also a source of alien spores. Characteristics: Royal Transformation. If a newly created hive does not yet have a queen, or if a hive's queen has been killed, a genetic trigger inside the Preatorian enables it to cocoon itself and emerge as the hive's new queen. There can be only one queen, however, so remaining Praetorians genetically de-trigger after this happens. Of all the purebreed aliens that a Praetorian can transform into, the queen is most genetically similar, making transformation costs relatively inexpensive. Vascular disgorgement. The digestive and vascular systems of the Praetorian are not separate entities as in most life forms. This enables the Praetorian to vomit vast quantities of its own caustic blood when it determines that its current combat situation warrants such an act. Typically, when the Praetorian's enemies are vulnerable to acid and either numerous or particularly powerful. Spore emission. The Praetorian produces alien spores. Spores coat living organisms and grow upon them from an extended period of time. Spores have numerous sensors, and they relay what they see by encoding this information on ambient radiation that bounces off of them and then finds its way to other aliens. This spore site enables the hive to track hosts long after they have left the vicinity of any nearby aliens. Spores defeat predator cloaking. Upgrade. Speciated metamorphosis. When upgraded, the Praetorian can transform into two other types of purebreed aliens, the Carrier and the Ravager. The genetic imperative to ensure that there is a queen to manage the hive is irresistible, however, so the secondary transformation available to an upgraded Praetorian can only happen if a queen already exists. The different types of transformations require varying quantities of infestation points, depending on the type of alien subspecies being created. Strengths. The Praetorian's armor-piercing claws and acidic disgorgements are best put to use against heavily armoured targets. The Praetorian is always available to the hive no matter what kind of hosts are nearby, making it easy to ensure that the hive has a force of Praetorians it can draw upon in an emergency. Should the queen and all eggs and facehuggers be slain, transforming a spare Praetorian into a new queen may be the hive's only chance for survival. Weaknesses. The Praetorian is more expensive to produce than any of the transbreed aliens, in both time and infestation points. This causes Praetorians to be fewer in numbers, which leaves them vulnerable to being overwhelmed by large groups of enemies. Weapons that are good at penetrating heavy armor are also dangerous to the Praetorian. Description. The incontestable ruler of the hive, the queen is relentless in her drive to expand the brood, and her will is executed by her offspring, as if it were a biological imperative. She is the one alien that creates eggs, the entity from which all other aliens eventually develop. A hive may only have one queen at a time, and all queens come from a Praetorian that has undergone royal transformation. While the queen normally avoids combat, she is extremely dangerous when cornered. Characteristics. Genetic determination. The queen is unique in her ability to control the genetic configuration of the hive. She alone can spend infestation points to unlock the massive genetic database contained in all aliens, and thereby evolve the creatures of the hive into more capable forms. Egg-laying abdomen. The queen can expend infestation points to distend her abdomen and cause it to spawn eggs. While this egg sac fixes the queen in place, she can rip free at any time. This forces the queen to create a new egg sac to continue egg production, however, so she chooses this course only when threatened or when all nearby hosts are consumed. The process of creating an egg sac also spawns a hive node nearby, so that eggs can get its nutritional benefits. The queen is a huge beast, capable of striking enemies with bone-shattering blows that send most man-sized creatures hurtling through the air. Spore emission. The queen produces alien spores. Spores coat living organisms and grow upon them for an extended period of time. Spores have numerous sensors, and they relay what they see by encoding this information on ambient radiation that bounces off of them and then finds its way to other aliens. This spore site enables the hive to track hosts long after they have left the vicinity of any nearby aliens. Spores defeat predator cloaking. Upgrade. War Empress. When the hive is engaged in all-out war with a host species, the queen can upgrade herself, improving her combat abilities in 3 ways. First, she becomes far tougher. Second, she grows hardened chitin that deflects all but heavy munitions. Third, she develops the ability to will nearby transbreed aliens into a combat frenzy. In this state, signified by a green glow, transbreed aliens inflict notably more damage than normal, and their blows cannot be turned by opponents usually capable of such a feat. Strengths. The queen is best used as an engine of hive growth, continually creating eggs so that the hive can add new members. When the hive is directly threatened at its heart, the queen also makes a powerful last-ditch defender. With her upgrade, the queen can go on offense, spearheading mass assaults of unparalleled viciousness. This later option is not without risk, however, as the queen cannot lay more eggs while on the move or if killed. Weaknesses. While attached to her egg sac, the queen cannot attack and must remain stationary. This makes her an easy target for long-range bombardment. Also, while her attack is unquestionably powerful, it relies more on concussive impact than any kind of armor-penetrating effect. As such, heavily armored opponents are more likely to survive her strikes. In all other cases, the queen is a hard target that can only be neutralized with overwhelming force. Description. The carrier spreads the alien infestation to outlying regions by serving as a facehugger transport. While riding a carrier, facehuggers do not expend energy, enabling them to reach further areas than their limited energy supply would otherwise allow. In combat, the carrier is an extraordinarily dangerous enemy, since its cargo does not hesitate to leap on nearby targets when threatened. Like all pure-breed aliens, the carrier comes from a morphed Preatorian. Characteristics. Facehugger transport. Facehuggers, normal or Preatorian, can leap onto the carrier's spines of their own accord, or the carrier can call them to itself. Once riding the carrier, facehuggers are protected from most weapons by their shape and disposition of the spines. Facehuggers can also feed from tiny filaments on the carrier's spines to replenish their fixed energy supply. By default, a carrier can serve as a transport for up to 6 facehuggers simultaneously. Launching spines. When the carrier attacks an enemy, any facehuggers riding on its back automatically leap with uncanny accuracy towards the faces of all potential hosts that are within range. In the right circumstances, a single carrier can bring down an entire group of enemies in seconds via this mechanism. Exadrenaline. The carrier feeds the facehuggers it transports with a biological stimulant known as exadrenaline. This substance causes facehuggers to continue operating even after sustaining normally terminal damage. The carrier saturates riding facehuggers with the substance, effectively rendering them temporarily invulnerable. Once a facehugger leaves a carrier, however, further damage causes the facehugger to rapidly consume its exadrenaline store. Remaining exadrenaline passes from the facehugger to any chest bursters it produces. Upgrade. Supercarrier genome. An upgraded carrier, known as a supercarrier, can bear 12 facehuggers instead of 6, enabling it to perform its utilitarian transport role more efficiently. The supercarrier has an added defense mechanism when killed. A neurological trigger causes the creatures to burst apart violently, spewing its deadly cargo and vast quantities of acid. Facehuggers launched in this way have an uncanny knack for flying straight at their attackers. Fire prevents this explosion, however, by charring the beast solid. Strengths. The carrier is useful for carrying facehuggers to victory sites and obviating the need to drag hosts back to the hive. When screened from enemy fire by other aliens, the beast can be devastating in close combat if fully loaded. Entire squads of enemies can become alien hosts, as facehuggers automatically leap at vulnerable opponents nearby. X-Adrenaline ensures that carrier-borne facehuggers and the chestbursters they produce have a far better chance of surviving combat. Weaknesses. The carrier trades the strength and toughness of the Preatorian it morphs from to become a utilitarian beast, capable of nurturing facehuggers. As such, it has no armor, and can fall to enemy attacks quite quickly. It is highly vulnerable to fire, both because fire heavily damages its cargo and because it prevents the upgraded carrier from exploding on death. Finally, the carrier is not particularly good at attacking enemies that are immune or otherwise resistant to being facehugged. Description. The Ravager is presumed to be the alien evolutionary response to the heavier military equipment brought to bear by more advanced species. This massive beast towers above other aliens and is a uniquely terrifying presence in battle. Instead of hands, its upper extremities terminate in hull blades, capable of slicing through even advanced armors. A Ravager comes from a Preatorian that has morphed at a considerable infestation point cost. Characteristics. Hull blades. The Ravager possesses 2 diamond-hard chitinous blades that are sharp enough to slice through starship hulls. No terrestrial armor is capable of resisting them, making the creature adept at tearing apart even heavily armored targets. Worse, the Ravager intelligently strikes the weakest points of its enemies, meaning that it typically seeks to decapitate bipeds. The Ravager is unique among aliens in that it kills its prey outright, instead of rendering it comatose for subsequent impregnation. Upgrade. Colossal resilience. Upon upgrade, the Ravager develops 2 new features. First, a hard chitinous shell that deflects even medium caliber weapons fire, and secondly, the ability to perform a rapid internal restorative process called regenesis. Regenesis causes a severely damaged Ravager to enter a cataleptic state instead of dying. If a cataleptic Ravager avoids sufficient additional damage, it rapidly rebuilds itself and returns to battle at half strength. Fire and extreme terminal damage prevent regenesis. Strengths. The Ravager excels at dismantling anything it encounters, even heavily armored targets. Since the Ravager kills prey outright, it is a particularly good choice for use against enemies that cannot be impregnated. When upgraded, the Ravager is best used in conjunction with other aliens. This way, enemies must focus on a number of targets, often enabling slain Ravagers to successfully complete the regenesis process and return to battle. Weaknesses. The Ravager kills its prey rather than rendering it comatose, so it is a poor choice when the hive is in dire need of viable hosts. The Ravager should avoid fire, since it prevents the creature from triggering regenesis when upgraded. Predator vanguards are also to be avoided, since their plasma scythes can frequently kill a Ravager quickly enough to prevent it from undergoing regenesis.